Hey, we got the brackets coming up. 2025 NCAA FCS Championship. You got North Dakota State, the top seed, Illinois State. In our game, you got North Dakota taking on Tarleton State here in Tarleton State, Texas territory in Stephenville, Texas. Jack Benjamin. We got to talk about Victor Gabalas. That is the Tarleton State quarterback. He is what you call a Gaballer. 2,400 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, just 4 picks. Second team All-United Conference player. He's just one of those players extremely experienced. Then you got North Dakota. You got these running backs, Sawyer Sider. You see the tap in the side. He can tote that pill, 180 rushes, 879 yards, 11 touchdowns, but he is that fire. Then you got Desire Gavin Zebarth. He just took over last week against Tennessee Tech. The game was 10-6 going into the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, Zebarth just took over, 11 carries, 66 yards. And we got the North Dakota coach, Eric Schmidt. He's an alum. Played linebacker, won the national championship for North Dakota, now in first season as the North Dakota head coach, 8-5, and he has such an intensity about him as far as coming into this ball game and this season. So looking forward to what Eric Schmidt is doing. But then on the other side, you got Tarleton State head coach Todd Whitten. 16 seasons here. Just talking to Coach Whitten, he says, look, we have a very experienced team. We had to go out and get some dogs. He went out and got some dogs, 40 seniors. He's a senior-led squad, so he's looking to advance and continue this 11-1 season. They had a first-round bye, that first round of the FCS playoffs. Now they're here at home in the second round, hoping to take advantage of this home field advantage.
All right. Well, Doc, appreciate you handling some technical difficulties for me there, my man.
Hold on. We're teammates, right?
Absolutely.
Why don't we thanking me, man? Let ball out, man.
The former Memphis Tiger running back Doc Holliday, Jack Benjamin with you. Tarleton State has won the toss and deferred to the second half, folks. So we are set to get underway here in Stephenville in front of a great crowd at Memorial Stadium. Again, the Tarleton State Texans, the #4 national seed. This is only their second year eligible for FCS postseason play, their second straight FCS postseason appearance, and second straight home game to begin the FCS playoffs. Winner to the quarterfinal rounds. And away we go. It'll be Sawyer Seidel, the running back who also handles kick returns for North Dakota, and he's got a seam and a burst down the sideline where he's wrapped up into Tarleton State territory. A tackle on special teams by Corey Ty after a kick return of 48 yards.
Well, Jack, that's how you want to start this game, man. It's their first game here at Tarleton State this season, second round of the playoffs. If you're North Dakota, you want to come out with momentum, showing the Texans that you're all about business, and that's how you come out showing that you're all about business. Great return.
North Dakota's quarterback is Jerry Kaminsky. He's a sophomore from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, second on the single-season touchdown passes list in school history, only behind Kelby Klosterman, who had 34 in 2001. He suffered a tough injury last week, was in concussion protocol all week after the Tennessee Tech game. And he is out there after questions on if he would go. First down run for Seidel, and he is brought down by Ty Rawls. So, both ways, some impact players to watch.
Well, you got to look at the impact players, man. For Tarleton State, you got to talk about that offensive line. But then on North Dakota, you got to talk about their offensive line. It's a 7-on-1 moving company, averaging 200 yards a game. And on the other end, Yasir Holmes. He's going to have the responsibility of trying to stop that run game, so they need him to be aggressive today.
On second down, Seidel the carry, and he is brought down at the 45-yard line on a pickup of 4 yards. And it sets up a third down for North Dakota, who last week against Tennessee Tech weren't great on third down. They were only 5 for 16, but it didn't matter. They were able to pull away. You did that game in the fourth quarter. That was impressive.
Oh, yeah, North Dakota, extremely impressive output last week against Tennessee Tech. And right now, they're getting their physicality questioned with the huge third down on this first series.
On 3rd and 6. And that pass deflected at the line of scrimmage. Tarleton State's defense showing up in a big way early. Tremaine Chisholm fifth-year senior from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And it's a punt on the opening drive for North Dakota.
You got to talk about the Texans. We just said this is what they need to do. You see them, if you can't get to the quarterback when you're a defensive lineman, they teach you to bow down, hold tight, and get your hands up and try to deflect the pass, and that's exactly what Big 9-2 was able to do right there.
So Luke Silvernail will punt it away for North Dakota. And calling for a fair catch is Caleb Lewis. Inside the 10, well done there by Silvernail, who came in 12th nationally in punt average, right around 42, make it 44 yards per boot. All right, so here's our look at Victor Gabalis, Walter Payton Award finalist for the top player in the FCS. You can see his numbers this season. It's his third year as the starting quarterback. This guy is nearing all kinds of records in school history. He's just frankly been a winner ever since he arrived on campus.
You talk about experience, you talk about being a good player, talk about being a great player. Victor Gabalis has been a great player for Tarleton State. He's the big reason why they're in the position they're in today.
The running back is Tylen Hines on first down, and that's a completion to Cody Jackson, who comes in as the team's leader in receptions. That's his 52nd on the season. Tackle from Evan Clute as we look at our impact players on both sides.
Impact player for Tarleton State, the big dog, 6'5", 200 pounds, Hunter Smith. 3-year starter, first team all-conference. Then on the other side, North Dakota defensive end, Lance Rucker. He is a bad mother rucker. They're going to have to block him today.
See what you did there. That's a completion to Peyton Kramer. They have a number of receiving threats on this Tarleton State team. Kramer is their leader in receiving yards. The trio of Jackson, Kramer, and West, about as good a trio of receivers as you'll find in the FCS.
Sound like a law firm, but today they're a pass-catching firm because they are extremely explosive and extremely dangerous.
On a fresh set of downs, Gabalis. That slow mesh, and that ball's knocked away. It's free and grabbed by North Dakota. Now they're going to wave it incomplete. They wave it as an incomplete pass. It was gobbled up by Michael Devereaux, one of the linebackers for North Dakota. Let's watch this again as the pressure gets to Gabalis. That slow mesh RPO game.
See, we talked about Lance Rucker. See, when you want to do that slow mesh that Tarleton State wants to do, which they want Gabalis to take his time, read the defensive coverage and figure out where he wants to throw the ball. But while you taking your time, Rucker and the rest of this North Dakota defense is on time getting to him. So he's going to have to make his decision real quickly of what he wants to do with that rock, Jack.
Gabalis hands off that time, and nothing doing for Tylen Hines. So North Dakota thought they might have forced a turnover. That time it's Malachi McNeil making the stop, and it sets up third down and long after he lost about a half yard. The 3rd and 11 on the opening drive for Tarleton State. Now Tarleton State on the season, one of the best converting third downs at 44% in the FCS. North Dakota rushes 4. Gabalis hangs in, throws over the middle, and that one is squeezed by Peyton Kramer. A terrific catch to move the chains.
When you talk about a beautiful route, you talk about a beautiful ball, and you talk about a beautiful catch. Just look at Gabalis stand back there. Kramer with the deep dig route, reaches out, stretches out, despite having 3 defenders around him. Kramer able to get his hands on him and just pluck it out the air in a huge first down.
A 12-yard gain and a fresh set of downs. Hines to the outside. And he will tiptoe the sideline. And he'll get out of bounds on a gain of a couple of yards. He stepped out. You saw moments ago there how accurate Gabalis is. I mean, he can put that football anywhere he wants at any time. And there's a reason why he's got 25 TDs against just 4 picks this season.
Rip it and zip it. A lot of times you throw the ball hard like that, receiver's going to catch it, but DBs don't want it when it's coming in hard. But at the same time, Victor Gabalis is extremely accurate when he throws that peel.
There's that slow mesh concept again. He's got an open man again. And it's Peyton Kramer. And then the ball was jarred free. And they will roll that one incomplete. So he couldn't quite control it to the turf.
Third down.
You look at that slow mesh. Beautiful ball. Peyton Kramer gets it. But Jakob That is what you want your defenders to do. It looks all pretty when you sitting out, you stretching out, you catching balls and looking all nice. When you come down the seam route, like Peyton Kramer just got, he came down the seam route and it turns into a cream route because he got smacked.
Zach Lewis delivered the boom, and it makes it 3rd down and 8. Instead of it would have been about a 30-yard gain. Jackson, bottom of your screen. They need the 45. And pressure coming, and Gabalis goes down. Well, nothing doing at all that time. The North Dakota pressure gets home. He actually dropped it. And Kaiwan Vengrowski able to hop on top of it. I should say he made the tackle. Watch this again. Yeah, Gabalis, you can see him
Tarleton, number
falling
9,
on top
is now
of it.
wearing number 96.
Well, see what happens in that situation. Anytime you have a run-pass option, the running back and the quarterback have to be in total communication. The Hines probably thought he was going to hand it off, or he was going to keep it, and Gabalis wanted to hand it off, and they just didn't miscommunicate.
North Dakota blocks the punt. Now there is a flag. They'll run it into the end zone, and we'll see on the marker. It's Sam Ostrenga, who's blocked a couple of punts this season, but again, a flag, and Tarleton State thinks this is going on North Dakota.
Personal foul. Leaping. Receiving team number 48. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Wow. So a huge turn of events there. Brody Thornton gets called for the leaping penalty, the rare leaping penalty.
Yeah, you can't get your MJ in on situations like that. So, yeah, I can see what North Dakota's trying to do, but you got to follow the rules. Thought they had a huge punt block, but in turn, no, it's a penalty.
That's something you can't afford to do. When you get this Tarleton State offense off the field, you got to keep it that way. And Eric Schmidt, North Dakota's head coach, knows just that. A guy who is a UND alum, won a national title back in 2001. The program's only national title. That was at the D2 level before their transition up to D1 in 2008. Fresh set of downs for Tarleton State and Hines. And nothing doing against this North Dakota defense, which against the run, Doc, this season has been outstanding. 6th nationally. They allow fewer than 100 yards per game. In fact, only one team this season has rushed for more than 100 against them.
That's because they're stiff in there, man. You got to have great physical defensive linemen. North Dakota has nice physical defensive linemen, and they have a physical mindset. So a lot of times when you're physical, it has a lot to do with your mind more than physical, and North Dakota is physical mentally and physically.
Gabalis, all kinds of time, lofting it deep for Jackson, and he is able to pull it in that time. So Jackson down inside the 20. Evan Clute makes the tackle.
This is just an impressive play altogether. Gabalis didn't even really get much velocity on that ball, but he gets it and puts it in a perfect position, gives it to a receiver that can really come down and get it despite being 2 defenders down there, and despite knowing he was going to take a smack, takes a smack, but comes up with the huge catch. A
36-yard gain to Jackson. Here's Hines trying to bounce it outside. He's got some room. And Hines inside the 10, where he is shoved back by North Dakota. Some tussling after the play. That's the physicality of the FCS playoffs. Another look here.
Now look at this offensive line. What I love about the offensive line, they're blocking, but look at Trevon West. Wide receiver blocking downfield, and he knew when to get up off of his defender so he won't get called for holding. So in order for you to be successful in the run game, your wide receivers have to be committed to blocking, and Trevon West showed you right there he's committed to blocking. Great run, great blocking, great offensive play.
First down and goal from the 8. They motion the tight end Joyner, and now Gabalis to the end zone, incomplete. He was looking in the direction of Marquise Willis. If you recognize that last name, he's the younger brother of a guy by the name of Malik Willis, quarterback for the Packers.
What you talking about, Willis?
I knew you were bringing that in at some point.
Okay. Yeah, man. Hey, great pedigree, man. Just great bloodline, just athletic family, apparently.
He had a heck of a career over at Liberty to finish things off after starting his career, did Malik at Auburn. It's second down and goal for Tarleton State. They hand it off this time. It's Caleb Lewis and nothing doing. I mean, you can see that North Dakota run defense up to the task early. Michael Devereaux, they did allow the 10-yard gain to get down to goal, but They're a bend-don't-break defense. You saw that last week against Tennessee Tech, and now 3rd and goal.
And you got to give it to that North Dakota defense right there. It was all about reading. They saw the run game coming. They saw the running back getting the rock out of the pistol formation. So instead of rushing upfield, they just kind of held on to the blockers and able to get to the running back and bring them down.
On 3rd and goal, it is Lewis. They run it again, and he's down inside the 5. Now, that's the kind of play you might think they're going for it on 4th down the way they ran it, but they're a little bit too far away, I think, for that in the opening drive here, and they'll send out the field goal unit.
Which I think is the smart thing to do, man. You want to sit here and get some points. You want to get some points. This is the playoffs. This is the 2nd round. You don't want to be taking unnecessary chances. So Coach Whitten said, go ahead, don't try to get some points on the board.
You saw that stat. North Dakota hasn't allowed a touchdown in the 1st quarter since September 13th. And that'll continue. Brad Larson, meanwhile, one of the great stories in college football, is able to put that field goal up and through from 22 yards. He is now 11 of 13 on field goals this season. 3-0 Tarleton State. North Dakota's defense bends but doesn't break. All right, so Tarleton State, a 15-play drive that was helped out by a penalty on the punt. They end up getting 3 points on a 22-yard chip shot field goal from Brad Larson. 11-1 season. Again, their 2nd year eligible for the FCS Playoffs. The nation's top scoring offense. They had that win against Army early on in the season, which put the entire nation on notice. One of 4 FCS wins this year versus an FBS team. By the way, that was Larson who drilled that game-winning field goal. Their only loss at Abilene Christian, who they shared the United Athletic Conference title with, and they beat Austin Peay a couple weeks ago in overtime. So they end up getting a number 4 national seed. They have the ability to host through the quarterfinal round, and what a job Todd Whitten has done now in his 16th year in his 3rd stint at the school.
I love everything Coach Whitten has done. He's been here for so long, and when you're talking to him, especially when we talked to him earlier this week trying to change the trajectory of this program, so he went out and got some transfers, got some seniors, got some people in here that really want to be here, and it's paid off for him.
They dribble it on the kickoff, and Seidel will just coast out of bounds around the 25-yard line. And we will take a break. Inside 7 to go in this 1st quarter. The 4-seed Tarleton State on top of North Dakota 3-0. Well, Todd Whitten leading this Tarleton State program in his third stint. He began at 30 years of age. He was the head coach in 1996 for a year before hopping around on a couple of offensive coordinator roles. But he comes back in 2000 and leads them to their first Lone Star Conference Championship, a 5-year stint from 2000 to 2004 before taking the head coaching job at Sam Houston State. Didn't have another head coaching job until returning to Tarleton State in 2016, ushered them into their D1 era in 2020, and of course this year shared the United Athletic Conference Championship with Abilene Christian. He is one of 2 thrice hired coaches this century, with Minnesota Duluth's, I should say actually Nevada's, Chris Alt. So it is very rare you see someone on a third stint at a school. Kaminsky for North Dakota, meanwhile, rolling out and throwing that ball out of bounds. I'll tell you what's a testament to, partner, to Todd Whitten, his ability to adapt over the years in the different eras of college football.
But it also shows you what kind of person he is, because a lot of times when you leave somewhere, you can't really go back. So it lets you know he's a good relationship builder, he's a good person, and he can adapt, because you have to adapt, especially with the changing environment of college football, and he's done a great job of that, because you're talking about 3 different situations, bringing him back to the same situation.
Running back is Gavin Zebarth, who broke his collarbone earlier this year. They didn't know if they would get him back. Now, he returned emphatically in their playoff game last week against Tennessee Tech, rushed it for 66 yards and a touchdown, and he basically iced that game away in the fourth quarter.
When I tell you, Jack, he was toting that pill. He was toting that pill. Me being a former running back, I'm sitting here watching him like, oh my gosh, he's made Tennessee Tech tap out with the 7-on-1 moving company, and as tough as he's just a very, very tough running back, and I love running backs like that.
3rd down and 6. Kaminsky against a 4-man rush. Lofting it along the sideline, and that is incomplete. Looking for Nate DeMontenac. In coverage, Dabari Hawkins. And North Dakota is going to have to punt it away once again, so nothing doing in the passing game, and that maybe is the strength of the Tarleton State defense. Their secondary, their corners are terrific.
And that's what you call DB play. That's what you call blanking and being on top of somebody. You're looking at Hawkins, you see the receiver was trying to run a little fade and go, but Hawkins is right there with him step by step, didn't give him any space or any opportunity to even try to high point that football.
So Luke Silvernail punts again, this time to Caleb Lewis, who stands around his own 30. This is a very good punt. That one will sail inside the 20. It's going to roll inside the 5, and North Dakota downs it at about the 1.5-yard line. That is called flipping the field. Shout out Pat McAfee, 73-yard punts. A career long for Luke Silvernail. How about junior Luke Silvernail, officially a 71-yard punt. We called it 73, we thought it was, but they downed it officially at the 2. His previous season long was 54, and that was an absolute bomb. Meanwhile, the NCAA FCS Championship coverage continues next Friday and Saturday with quarterfinal coverage on ABC, ESPN, and ESPN Plus. For more information, go to ncaa.com, the home for all NCAA championships. So Tarleton State officially from its own 2.5-yard line on first down, and they run it with Lewis, who is ahead for a couple. Jack Benjamin, Doc Holliday, our entire crew with you here from Stephenville, Texas at Memorial Stadium. They are 5th nationally this year in attendance at this place, which they've renovated on multiple occasions since joining the D1 ranks in 2020. And it really is fun being here for the first time. What an environment it's been.
Oh, this place is pretty. I love it.
Gabalis. And he'll go to the sideline, and a completion of Willis, who is tugged down right around the 20-yard line by Evan Clute after a gain of 12 yards and a first down. So you can see Gabalis spreading the ball around early. That is now 3 different receivers he's hit.
Young wide receivers, I want you to watch this route by Willis. This is what you call a perfect comeback. Look at it. Press him downfield, come back to the rock. Gabalis gets him right to it. Excellent route. I just love everything about how that route was ran and how Gabalis threw that ball.
A handoff this time to Hines. And there's that slow mesh working in the run game to perfection. He's able to just read it, and Hines gets forward for 10 as Lewis makes the stop. Hines suffered an injury against Portland State in their Week 2 game, and well, he's exploded since coming back from injury.
And you talk about Hines, it's just the vision. You sit there, you watching, Gabalis is watching, he gives it to Hines, and Hines makes a great cut off tackle and picks up some great yardage.
He had a dislocated elbow back in August, so they got him back in the second to last game of the regular season. Here he is again, and he is tugged down. That's a nice open field tackle by Zach Lewis, the Rover. He was honorable mention in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, which is saying a lot, in one of the deepest leagues in FCS. You could argue the best year in, year out. There is Tylen Hines and his numbers for the season. Most of that yardage came against Austin Peay in their regular season finale when he rushed for 215 yards in his second game back from injury.
Well, that just shows you how dangerous this is, and that even makes that tackle by Zach Lewis even that much more impressive, because he's able to bring Hines down, because Hines has some nice little tap and escapability about himself.
Here he is, breaking loose, right on cue. Hines pushed out of bounds at the 49 by Zach Lewis after a gain of 16.
Talk about escapability and talk about Hines catch up. He's trying to get North Dakota to catch up. Gets outside. Look at all that great blocking. And once again, Willis blocking downfield, everybody blocking downfield. And Hines not only showing you that quickness, he's showing you that speed and toughness as well.
So a couple runs of 10+ in the drive already. Gabalis spying time. Ball's loose. And a Tarleton State lineman hopped on top of it. Aiden Moe, the left tackle who was all conference this year. Lance Rucker wreaking havoc early in this first quarter.
Look, man, everybody, you got to know what number 0 is. The dude had 3 strip sacks last week. You can do your slow mesh, but you got to, even if you slow meshing away from him, which they did slow mesh away from him, Lance Rucker beating the offensive tackle and still walking him down, man. He's just somebody you have to deal with. This young fella right here, 10.5 sacks, 14 TFLs. Oh, my gosh.
So that goes down as a TFL, by the way. He's a sack shy of setting the new single-season sacks record at North Dakota. Gabalis, meanwhile, on 3rd and long, trying to run. He's got some wheels, trying to get to the edge, and he is out of bounds inside North Dakota territory as Evan Clute shoved him out, and Gabalis showing off the wheels that time.
Well, he's walking with a limp, but he wasn't running with a limp right there. But that's one of those plays North Dakota is going to give up. It's 2nd and long, so they're going to drop 5 in coverage and allow Gabalis to pick up them yardage. But Gabalis still showing some quickness despite the fact he's running with a little hitch out there.
Yeah, a little hitch in the giddy up after getting back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 7 to go. They need the 41 of North Dakota. Gabalis all kinds of time. And that is knocked away, incomplete. Intended for Trayvon West. Bennett Walker, the transfer from San Diego State. You know, Eric Schmidt was over there last year working as a defensive assistant. He comes over with him, and he makes a great play there in the secondary.
He made an outstanding play. But when you look at Gabalis, he still threw that ball a little late. Had he thrown that ball before the wide receiver got on the outcut, he probably would have got it completed, but he didn't throw it until he actually saw the receiver's eyes. And when you throw it late like that, it's going to be hard to get a completion on a defensive back as good as he is.
So Charlie Mullen will punt to Zach Lewis, who waits around his 5-yard line. That ball hit a Tarleton State player around the 4, then was down inside the 1. And that ends up being a heck of a punt regardless. They'll move the football forward a little bit, but and is well done job of flipping the field again. Watch this. Yeah, that ball hits the back of Tier Young.
First down at the 8-yard line.
Nice camera work. How about these punters, man? I normally don't give punters and kickers a lot of love, but hey, so far this first quarter, I got to give both of these punters some love. They're doing their jobs and doing them well.
A 40-yard punt. They officially downed it, they said, at the 8-yard line. So here's North Dakota back to work. And not a whole lot doing in the run game that time. It is Charles Chuck Langema who pushes forward and gets a couple of yards on first down.
He pushed forward, but he definitely took a smack from Ty Rawls. That's what you call a confrontation, a physical confrontation. Nice, tough run, but also a nice, tough tackle.
We roll inside 70 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Kaminsky, a little dump on the out route. That's complete to Langema, and he's taken down. It is Giovanni Melidor, the redshirt senior from Columbia, South Carolina, on the stop.
And I love him. I see what North Dakota trying to get their running backs and their playmakers the ball out in space, but that Texas defense is all over the place.
And I think coming in, the storyline with some folks was, well, Tarleton's offense is elite. How good is the defense? We're seeing they got a lot of playmakers on that side of the football, too. And the numbers all season have been pretty good. Third down and long after Kaminsky's first completion. He's going to have to complete another here, you figure, to pick up a first down. On 3rd and 7, he steps up, and that is intercepted. Right into the waiting arms of Cassius Kearns. He came in second in the FCS with 5 picks. Give him number 6. And a half dozen interceptions for the 6th-year senior who sets up the Texans deep in North Dakota territory.
When you're North Dakota, you have to know what the roguish defensive backs are, the defensive players. And when I say roguish, those who like to steal in a good way. And he's definitely one of those that like to steal. He sits back there. Kaminsky throws it. It looks like the receiver was running a curl route instead of running an out route. And the DB is there to take advantage of it.
Well, they are takeaway U here at Tarleton State. That's their 37th takeaway of the season. It is their 22nd interception as a team. And by the way, those 37 takeaways, most by an FCS team since James Madison in 2017. Incredible. What a job defensive coordinator Tyrone Nix has done. Here is Gabalis. Looking deep, has a man, and that is through the arms of his tight end, Danny Joyner. Had a linebacker racing with him in coverage. And Devereaux, and it goes incomplete, 2nd and 10, so they take a shot right off the turnover.
I love it, though, because even though Joyner couldn't get that reception, I love the way he and Gabalis were working together because the initial route wasn't open. So what Joyner did, he just turned it up the field, which is what you're taught to do. Gabalis dumps it to him. Joyner just couldn't get the catch to go, but I see the communication, and that's what you want from a receiver, a receiving player, and the quarterback.
Gabalis with time to the end zone and incomplete over the head of Marquise Willis. He is 6'2", but needed to be about 6'5" to stretch to that one. It's 3rd down. Evan Clute in coverage. So make it 3rd down and 10, 11 seconds to go in this first quarter. If you're North Dakota right now with the minimal offense, and that's putting it lightly and frankly kindly, to say the least, if you can hold Tarleton State to maybe only a couple of field goals with what they've dealt with, you're feeling okay, but got to get off the field on 3rd down.
You do, but you have to give this North Dakota defense some credit, man, because they have stepped up when they needed to step up.
It's a handoff to Lewis. And that's one of those plays where they're just trying to make sure they're inside a field goal range. Clock will tick down in this first quarter, and we will go to the second. North Dakota's defense had to be out there a whole lot in that first quarter. 26 plays to 9 run in favor of Tarleton State, yet no touchdowns on the board so far to show for it. The Tarleton State Texans, with Texan Ryder leading the way. Off to a great defensive start. They'll try to tack on 3 more points when we start the second quarter after this. Well, these teams gunning to reach the NCAA FCS Football Championship game January 5th in Nashville. Tarleton State, the number 4 national seed. They will have a field goal attempt coming from Brad Larson from 39 yards to match a season long, which was set back in September against Mississippi Valley State. Young man is an incredible story. We'll get to it more as we go. He made from 22 earlier. This to give Tarleton State a 6-0 lead. And that is straight throw. So Larson is 2 for 2. I mean, this young man is about as good a story as there is in all of college athletics. He is a childhood cancer survivor. He was diagnosed not too long after birth. He was in the hospital for a long time. They gave him about a 25% survival rate, and he's overcome that and then some. He's also raised almost $38,000 for childhood cancer research through Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation via kicking in high school and college. He raises money for every extra point and field goal that he makes. An incredible story. And, of course, it's V Week at ESPN, where we partner with the V Foundation to highlight the urgent need for cancer research. This is a game-changing research that helps save lives. And if you are able, give now at v.org/donate. 100% of your donation goes directly to cancer research. And research like what Brad Larson it would have been the benefit of when he was early on. Again, this guy's a walking miracle, and of course, the moment of his career was kicking that game winner at Army back in August.
You love stories like this, man, stories of perseverance and hardship and overcoming that, because that's something he didn't have any choice to do, but he sat there and fought it and beat it. And salute, clap to him and his family, because I can just imagine what he's gone through and what they've gone through. So to see him here on this stage, just a blessing.
Yeah, the FCS had an incredible feature on their Game On series earlier in the week, and you will be able to see that feature at halftime, by the way, on his story of perseverance and resiliency. Just, again, an incredible young man who has overcome so much. And he certainly is a guy who has been a big part of this Tarleton State team. Meanwhile, North Dakota's offense has to find a way to get going here quickly. Look at that time of possession early on. Total plays 25-9 in favor of Tarleton State. Kaminsky rolling. He had room to run initially, and now he'll just tuck it and go out of bounds. So I do ask you the question here. He was in concussion protocol all week. Didn't get a ton of practice. Of course, they cleared him to play, but he took a big-time shot in Cookeville last week against Tennessee Tech. Maybe a little hesitancy, a little trepidation on his part early?
Sometimes, but when you're a football player and you coming out here, he would have went back in the game last week if he wanted to. So I'm pretty sure he's feeling confident about what he can have going on. He kind of was slow going in Cookeville against Tennessee Tech last week too, but you got to give it to this Tyrone Nix defense to Tarleton State. They're playing good this first half so far.
And the end arounds, and that is Corey Ty. So North Dakota goes with a little trickeration. An 8-yard gain for this offense, which has not had a first down today. And they are 2 yards shy of their first one now as Avion Rice makes the stop.
And you got to give it to North Dakota offensive coordinator Isaac Frickner. He said, look, we see all this pursuit. We see all this quickness the Texans are coming out here. Well, let's try to get them with some misdirection and try to trick them. Comes out with the reverse, picks up some good yardage. Now they have a huge 3rd and short.
They're 0 for 3 on 3rd downs, make it 0 for 4. They were swarmed in the backfield immediately. That is Jaden Aubert, the Jones College transfer from the JUCO ranks, with a sack, and a big one.
Well, the thing about it, you got Aubert coming off the edge on the right side, comes in unblocked. He reads that perfectly, and he's able to get to Kaminsky before Kaminsky was able to get to himself and figure out what he wants to do. Before he knew that, Aubert was putting him down. Huge stop for that Tyrone Nix defense once again with the Texans.
How about this? They go with a fake punt, and it goes nowhere. Tarleton State's defense up to the challenge. They tried to run it with Rumfo, the backup quarterback, and it was snuffed out immediately. Omar Emmons makes the stop. And this Tarleton State crowd pumped up here in Stephenville.
Well, a lot of times, Jack, the only time you can get away with something fake is at the swap meet. This is not a swap meet. This is real football. This is a real stadium. I give it to North Dakota coming out trying to catch Tarleton State off guard, but not able to do it. They antennas are up, and that's what you call being instinctive and being in the moment. This Texas defense and offense is in the moment.
And Todd Witten's team well prepared. You can see what their defense has done this season. They've been very good in their own right, and now their offense can set up shop at the 31 of North Dakota. Off that slow mesh, Gabalis over the middle, and that is caught at the 2. Marquise Willis, he pulls it into his shoestrings and sets up first down and goal.
And you have to give Willis so much credit. Look at this ball. Gabalis standing back there, kind of throws it off his back foot, couldn't get as much velocity under it. Willis able to get it low, get his arms under it. That's just a very impressive catch, but the refs want to see if that was indeed a catch.
It's a 28-yard grab, if it stands. They will go to replay and take a look. If it stands, it's 1st and goal to go for Tarleton State. Just 2 field goals so far, trying to get their first touchdown. Back with the replay decision after this. Well, the 28-yard grab for Marquise Willis was upheld. This guy's an incredible story. He started his career at the community college ranks, Coahoma Community College in Mississippi. Watch this again, how he gets those hands underneath it.
It's the chubby checker. For me, it's the twist of the body to get his hands underneath it and make sure he gets his whole body underneath it. Just great effort, great catch by Willis.
Impressive stuff. Motion man Tier Young. On 1st and goal, Gabala swings it outside, and a touchdown to Young. So Tarleton State denied from touchdowns twice to start, not this time. Young has a touchdown on 3 of his last 4 receptions this season. And the Tarleton State lead 12-0 early in the 2nd quarter.
And you got to love the play. You got Young coming in motion across the formation, just floods out into the flat. Outflanks everybody, can't get out there quick enough, and Gabales could have just reached out and touched someone and could have delivered that by UPS. Had he known Willis was going to be here with him, it was just that easy.
I was mentioning Marquise Willis. I was asking in the break, you know, last year he was playing at UPS. If you guys are thinking, who's UPS? He was literally working at UPS. He wasn't playing college football. Extra point is through from Brad Larson, a guy who was a former Ole Miss recruit. Well, this coaching staff saucing him, of course, the younger brother of Malik Willis. They knew he had the game. They knew Tier Young had some game too. 3rd touchdown for him in his last 4 receptions. 13-0 Tarleton State. So Tarleton State capitalizes off the interception from Cassius Kearns, his 6th of the season, to tie for the lead in the FCS this year. Again, a defense that has now had 37 takeaways. And you know, when you have that many takeaways, you got to have a way to represent it. How about the takeaway shirts? They were kind enough to give me one. Defensive coordinator Tyrone Nix, I was chatting with him. He said, hey, man, we'll get you a shirt. There are different levels, though. I've got the I Got One shirt here. You go, I got 2, I'm in the zone, a black belt, and then you're a lieutenant. And I'd say Cassius Kearns is beyond a lieutenant at this point.
No doubt about it. Lieutenant, colonel, lieutenant, president, he's it all. Especially the way he's coming out here playing and coming up with a huge interceptions. But what you do with that shirt? They gave you a shirt.
They gave me a shirt, man. Yep. You know, there's Tyrone Nix. I'll tell you what, man, he's been a coordinator at 5 different programs. He's done this about everywhere he's been, but a guy who played his ball at Southern Miss, was a great linebacker back in the day. Brother Derek was a great running back at Southern Miss as well, and he has coordinated at places like South Carolina and Ole Miss, and he knows what he's doing, and his defense leads the nation in takeaways this year, now with 37. Next closest, by the way, is the team they're playing, North Dakota, with 26. Brad Larson, little pooch kick on the kickoff. That was bobbled initially and then handled by North Dakota inside the 30. So that's where UND's offense will try to find some kind of momentum.
You know, we're talking about Tyrone Nix again, just a very impressive, brilliant defensive mind. He was playing for Southern Miss. When I was playing at Memphis, we used to, our game against Southern Miss used to be the black and blue game because it was always so physical. So he played physical, and he's coaching physical, and his players are playing physical as well. So Tyrone Nix loved not only just the defensive mind, just a football guy who knows exactly what he's doing.
Former Broyles Award finalist for the nation's top assistant coach. Kaminsky rolling out on first down and just dumps it into the turf in the direction of Langema. So this offense for North Dakota, literally nothing doing right now. They've run a total of now 14 plays. They have totaled 18 yards. How do they get going?
Well, first of all, you have to keep doing what you do. You have to continue to have confidence in what got you here, and what got you here is being physical, being resilient, being able to overcome obstacles. This North Dakota team, they've had obstacles before, and they have obstacles today, so they just have to keep believing in themselves.
Z Barth on second down, and he's shoved out of bounds for a loss. Ty Rawls makes the stop there. Another guy's had a bunch of takeaways this season. 3 picks for Rawls. He's showing his run-stopping ability that time. So now it's 3rd down and 12. This defense can dial back again. Yeah, we talked about Cassius Kearns, and you can see this team interceptions-wise. How about 4 different guys with multiple picks? Rawls and Emmons with 3 behind Kearns for a team in the season that has intercepted 22 of them. And that was deflected in the direction of Seidel. Again, pressure on Kaminsky, and this North Dakota passing offense just cannot find any kind of rhythm, and another punt upcoming.
And when I tell you they just lost a great opportunity because Seidel had all kinds of space. Not only did he have all kinds of green acreage, he just had great blockers in front of him, and Kaminsky just threw the ball behind him. Kaminsky just missed on the throw because Seidel was there. Had he caught that ball, he probably could have turned it up the field and got a touchdown. But there's just a missed opportunity for Kaminsky and their North Dakota offense, who really, really needs something good to happen.
It's going to be tough for Luke Silver now to top his last punt, which went 71 yards, a career long. This one won't be quite that far. Caleb Lewis makes the fair catch right around the 32-yard line.
Timeout.
A 45-yard punt as Tarleton State takes over.
College Football Playoff Selection Show. The bracket will be filled. Judgment Day is here.
Well, the College Football Playoff is right around the corner. The FCS Playoffs are here. And this is a look at the other side of the bracket. The 2 seed is Montana State. They are hosting Yale today. How about Yale's comeback last week? They were down 35-7 at the half to Youngstown State and 42-14 late in the third.
I bet you had tuned off, huh? See, just like everybody else.
Not me.
No, Jack, tell the truth. You tuned.
Not me.
No, I'm just joking. I know you watch games through and through.
when you're an FCS diehard, you watch them all the way to zeros. You know that.
No doubt about it.
About the FCS playoffs, some great matchups though in the second round still to come. Is Tarleton State's offense back to work with Hines, and he is ahead for 4 on first down. So Idric Carmichael makes the tackle. Second down for Tarleton State, leading 13-0. If you're just joining us, North Dakota's offense has done virtually nothing so far in this game. 16 total yards on 16 plays. And Tarleton State's lead could be a lot better if not for North Dakota's defense holding them to a pair of field goals to start. 2nd and 6. Gabalis, and that's picked off right into the arms of Bennett Walker. The other way he goes, and we were talking about it in the break. North Dakota can take it away too. They have their 27th takeaway of the season, and Walker has his first interception.
And you got to give it to North Dakota. They only giving up like 19 points a game, and Gabalis standing back there. Option looks like it's a miscommunication with the receiver. The receiver goes one way, Gabalis throws another way, but you know who's going that way? Number 10, Mr. Bennett Walker.
The ruling on the field is an interception. After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, passing team, number 69, half the distance to the goal, first down.
So the penalty afterward on Braden Smith, the redshirt freshman right guard, an all-conference selection. You can see Bennett Walker's a little bit shaken up. By the way, it's his 4th year of college football and his 4th college stop. That is his first interception since he had 2 when he was playing with Eastern Michigan back in September of 2023. But that is a huge one for his group.
It's a huge one.
Yeah. North Dakota, I mean, they basically needed to have something happen in the right direction, and finally they get it for an offense that's been struggling mightily. Watch the right side of your screen. Oh, yeah, there's the you saw the punch. Wow.
Man, it's a flop, man. Hey, look, you can't do it. You got to be disciplined in a situation like that. You can't do it. So they got them a free 15.
Kaminsky, meanwhile, kept it on the option, and this is what he does best. When he can get going downhill, he's a big-time runner. He's 6'2", 210. He's also a little more elusive than you'd think. Look at him go downhill here, partner.
And you talk about Kaminsky, talking about what? Talking about protocol. Protocol there, Kaminsky, not a tough tackle at all. You don't expect your quarterback to lay the hammer and lay the wood like that, but that's exactly what he did. And the DB may not want to see Kaminsky again coming through there with running that ball like that. Very physical run, very impressive run by the QB.
Seidel next to Kaminsky. And it is an end around, some trickeration and a touchdown. It's Seidel to the outside. He gets inside the pylon for 6. And North Dakota able to capitalize off the interception and get back within 7.
That's what you call speed. All you need is an opportunity. North Dakota gets an opportunity with an interception, and you come out and give it to Seidel, and Seidel said, just go to the pylon. Outrun everybody. Sawyer Seidel able to outrun everybody, and that Texans defense got a lot of speed on that side, but Sawyer Seidel is extremely slithery, and he's fast. Picks up a huge touchdown run for North Dakota in the game. Looking a little different right now, Jack Benjamin, than it was looking about 5 minutes ago.
That thing, 5 minutes ago. How about the minute ago? Seidel into the end zone, his 12th touchdown on the season. He's top 20 nationally in rushing touchdowns, and with his speed, you're not beating him to the edge.
No, you're not beating him in the edge, but it's still that play action fake that Kaminsky was able to give. Just had the defensive end and the linebacker just pause just for a half a second, and that's all Seidel needed to get around the corner and get to the pylon and get to the place of points, is what I like to call it.
So both touchdowns come off interceptions on drives that started inside the 30. And Eric Schmidt's team, who needed that in the worst way when their offense had generated 16 yards on their first 16 plays, gets a gift from Gabalis, who throws just his 5th interception of the season. By the way, Eric Schmidt's defense, we were talking about
North
this.
Dakota number 99
they can take
is
it away
wearing
a little
9.
bit too.
27
takeaways for them, only behind Tarleton's 37 now. And they now have picked off a number of passes on the season as well, 17 of them, which is 4th in the FCS.
Well, Eric Schmidt, the head coach, he's the defense coordinator, calls the plays. He's a national champion linebacker for North Dakota, so you know he knows defenses and he knows defensive philosophies and defensive techniques, and this North Dakota defense is a very, very good unit.
Here's D'Angelo Rosemont, made one man miss, and then he's upended shy of the 25-yard line. It's a tackle in space by Idric Carmichael after a 20-yard return from Tarleton State. Well, we thought this game was on the verge of possibly being all Tarleton State being over early. It's amazing how things can turn in the blink of an eye, especially in the FCS playoffs. And now Gabalis has to find a way back and recover.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. I think he exactly knows the mistake that he made on that last series when he threw that pick. I'm pretty sure he came to the sideline, talked to the offensive coach, talked to the receiver, talked to the receivers, because they have to be on the same page. But when you're not on the same page, you know, North Dakota is going to be disciplined. They're going to be where they're supposed to be. So Gabalis made a mistake. North Dakota made him pay for it.
It's Hines on 1st down, bouncing to the outside. And he tiptoes the sideline and is out of bounds after a solid 1st down run of 6.
That's what you call that Sammy Davis right there. He got that tap and gets to the outside. And when he gets to the outside, he did a great job of making himself small and skinny, because Lance Rucker was right there trying to get his hand on him. But Hines just doing a great job of toting that peel and positioning his body to where he couldn't get touched and brought down.
Another handoff to Hines, and he's right through a crease and into the 2nd level with a 1st down. To the 40-yard line he goes, a gain of 14.
You know what we call that? Toting that peel, because Hines can do it outside. You see the draw play, look at the patience, and once again, look at the tap. You got some great blocks going on by your offensive guard, your offensive tackle, and Hines, seeing that he didn't want to go outside, puts his foot down the ground, gets north and south, and picks up a huge chunk of yardage.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They go right back to him. And Hines that time getting 2 yards. Now, he's a guy who spent his first 3 years at Hawaii. He was actually all Mountain West honorable mention as a true freshman back in 2022, but had never really been in a lead back role. He thought he would be there coming out of camp, but again, dislocated elbow in the 5th play of their season at Portland State. Ends up missing 10 games, comes back against North Alabama, and boy, he has been great to have next to Gabalis in the backfield.
Oh, he's good. He can tote that peel.
Here he is again. That time, North Dakota's defense up the challenge. Rucker, who, you know, we were talking to Eric Schmidt about Rucker. Not only can he rush the passer, he's gotten a lot better in the run defense game as well.
That's one of those things. Coach Schmidt says Lance Rucker has all the tools, but he does need to beef up and get a little bigger in the run game, but he is progressing as a run defender. We know what he can do when he's passing and rushing the quarterback. Pretty
safe to say this guy, if he adds a little more muscle, he's got all the tools to be a next level player. Can see his numbers on the season, one of the best linebackers, edge rushers in the country. On 3rd down, where Tarleton State's 1 of 5. And Joyner, did he get a foot down in bounds? They say no, he caught it, but his foot was out of bounds while he was juggling. Tarleton State's sideline is not happy. Very rarely do you see Todd Whitten animated. This is about as animated as you'll see him. He doesn't like the call, and it's 4th and 5. Let's watch it again.
But I love the effort. I love the high point. But look at watch the foot comes down. But look at the rip away. The defender always with the rip away is able to get his hands. He got to complete the catch, whether he was inbounds or out of bounds. Great effort, but better effort for the DB.
Of an incomplete pass is under further review.
Yeah, so they'll take a look at this, as we thought they probably would. Todd Whitten, he's 60 years of age. He's a Dallas native. And again, for those of you not familiar with Stephenville, Texas, we are not too far away from the DFW, about 100 miles southwest. There's a strong recruiting ground to work with for Todd Whitten, a big reason why he saw the vision of what this program can become at the FCS Division I level. But he's about as mild-mannered and as cool as a cucumber typically. When he thinks there's an incorrect call, he'll let you know. Watch the feet here of Joyner. It's that right foot we're watching, while also looking at the football if he controls. So I'll tell you what, he does tap the toe down as part of the foot before the heel hits out of bounds. I just don't know if that's enough control on the catch. I mean, that ball's ripped out of bounds before he really comes down with it.
That's why I say it's a great defensive play. I mean, it's a good catch and it's a good effort. It looks like he did get it, but the defender just makes a great play. Okay, and then it's just whipping that ball up out of it.
Yeah, that was Bennett Walker.
Bennett Walker, yeah.
In coverage. Again, he was with Eric Schmidt last year at San Diego State. Eric Schmidt, over the last couple seasons, San Diego State. But by the way, prior to that, he was with a guy by the name of Kalen DeBoer at Washington. That's a pretty good guy to learn from. Alabama's current head coach. Of course, they went to a national title game back in 2023 where they lost to Michigan. Here's the call from our referee, Justin Ackley.
After further review, the ruling on the field is upheld. It's an incomplete pass. 4th down.
Doc, I'll tell you what, you called every single bit of that, my man.
Well, Bennett Walker, man, he made a great play. It was a great effort, but Bennett Walker's able to rip that ball out of there, man. That's why you never give up on the play until the play is over. And you still don't give up on it when the play is over because you never know.
But you calling out that second pursuit and the finishing job by Walker, that's a veteran cornerback making a big time play.
Tarleton, number 9, is now wearing number 96.
So Charlie Mullen will kick it away for Tarleton State. As Zach Lewis awaits. Zach Lewis, dangerous punt return man. Top 20 in the FCS in punt return average this season. This punt will take a Tarleton State bounce inside the 20. And they will spot it out of bounds right around the 15-yard line. So 13-7. The 4-seed Tarleton State on top of North Dakota. And again, 2 big plays have turned this game. An interception each way. The latest came from Bennett Walker, which led to the Seidel score.
You get the pick, then you come with North Dakota, you get the 6 from Sawyer Seidel. So everything was looking kind of gloom and doom for the Fighting Hawks, but you get a huge turnover, able to produce a touchdown behind it, and now we got us a tough ball game, 13-7 here in the second quarter.
Kaminsky faked a pass. Now he runs, and he's got room to motor. Kaminsky's second level, and down into Tarleton State territory.
That's what you call making something happen when you make something happen. See, Kaminsky, he can do it with his arm, but he can also do it with his leg. Froze the defender, looked like he was about to throw the screen. Nope, pulls it down. And I was about to say something to him by not having the ball in the outside arm so he can stiff arm, but he didn't need to stiff arm. He get a little twist with his body that allowed him to pick up an even extra 6-7 yards. So a huge momentum getting play by Kaminsky.
A 40-yard rush to match a season long. Now he dumps it in the flat to Langema, and he is out of bounds. And all of a sudden, this offense has something cooking. It's amazing what happens when you can establish the run. And Langema's out of bounds. All of a sudden, an offense who couldn't even get a couple of yards strung together back-to-back has a couple of first downs.
And you said it, Jack. They do have something cooking. And right now, it looks like what they're cooking is some Texas toast because they got a couple of big plays. They got some momentum, and now they find themselves on the good side of the 50-yard line.
Traveling more than 1,200 miles south from Grand Forks, North Dakota. Not much doing this time for Seidel. He is met right away. Brandon Tolvert, who's an all-conference defensive end, and Angelo Anderson, who's also first-team all-conference, combining on that stop.
Yeah, it was a nice hit, but you see Tolvert coming out, hanging and swinging that right shoulder a little bit, but looks like he's okay. But nice physical defensive stop by Tarleton State. They know they got to take control of this series right now because North Dakota is rocking and rolling.
North Dakota had 12 yards in the first quarter. Already 63 here in about the first 9 minutes or so of the second. And that throw in the flat is caught. It probably would have been better to be dropped because Avion Rice dropped Corey Ty in a big way. Laid the boomstick and sets up third down and long.
For an offensive injury.
Calling it a boomstick is exactly right. Avion Rice just read that perfectly and gets up underneath the shoulder pass. Good physical hit. Got to give the receiver credit for holding on to the football because he really took a smack right there. But Rice with the huge pop.
Well, this is where Tarleton State's defense wants to be, having North Dakota in 3rd and longs. They are 0 for 5 on 3rd down. Kaminsky designed to run right up the gut, and he leans forward inside the 30. And you figure this is probably go for it territory, about 1.5 yards shy of the line to get. The kicking game for North Dakota has been very suspect all season long. In fact, Cedre Elricks is actually back, the junior from Olathe, Kansas, their usual kicker. But he hadn't played in the previous 7 games with a groin injury, so they're pretty much going to roll the dice whenever they can in plus territory. It's 4th and 2 officially. Motion man to Montanak. They fake the handoff, and on a slant that is somehow reeled in by B.J. Fleming. Well, there are 3 Texas natives on the roster. He's one of them from Aledo. Not too far away from here, about an hour away. And a huge catch.
And how about that route? And how about this throw? Quick slant by B.J. Fleming. You can look at the coverage. The coverage was perfect. You couldn't even cover him any more perfect with that, but that's a nice throw by Kaminsky, and B.J. Fleming with the quick slant and the strong hands picking up a huge first down from North Dakota.
You think they like having him back after he missed last week?
Indeed, indeed.
Z-Barth was met with the initial tackler and then able to bounce it outside for a couple. As Cassius Kearns, first team all-conference corner. We've already seen him intercept a pass, his 6th on the season. Makes the tackle as we tick down towards 4 to play here in this first half. 13-7 the lead for the 4-seed Tarleton State, but North Dakota on the move. They have flipped this game around in a big way. 8th play of the drive, which began at the North Dakota 15. Kaminsky, a clean pocket for once, and he's picked off again. It's Bam Smith. Tarleton State continues to be takeaway U. Their 38th takeaway of the season. Their 23rd interception, and Bam Smith has his first pick of the year.
Tyrone Nix calling up the perfect defensive formation. The defensive play just had Kaminsky totally confused. That's almost like a Tampa 2 because you got the middle linebacker instead of rushing. He jets out to the middle of the field. Kaminsky didn't even see him, and just Bam is just right there, reads it perfectly, gets the rock. Great defensive call, but even better defensive execution by that Texas defense. And once again, being extremely roguish with how they play, coming up with a huge turnover.
And a 35-yard return. You saw that Jay Smith in the back of his jersey. His full name is Jordan, but goes by Bam, nicknamed Bam Bam. And it's Hines bouncing the outside. So Tarleton State trying to capitalize off a turnover once again. Another poor decision, meanwhile, by Kaminsky on that throw. Interceptions have been a problem for him.
Offense, number 73, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, that'll help out North Dakota in a big way. It's a penalty on Aiden Moe, the left tackle, called for a hold.
But you know what, Tarleton State, I guarantee you, they don't mind having a hold. I mean, they got the ball back because they just made a huge stop and a huge turnover against the North Dakota offense that had all kinds of momentum going, and they come up huge by stopping their momentum, getting the ball, and now they have a chance to try to get some points before this first half is over.
Now you can see what Tarleton State has done this season. Turnovers lost, you got to add 1 to that now after they threw the interception earlier, but 38 forced turnovers. Again, the next highest team in the FCS in takeaways is the one they're playing, North Dakota, who's now got 27. Gabalis, and Joyner makes a nice catch. Had to dip down to grab it. And he is up to the 42-yard line. Johnny Wiltshire, the nickel, makes the tackle. He's one of their better defensive players. He's really come on of late.
He is, but Joyner has some great hands, man. We've seen him, great, strong hands. He's able to stretch out and just, you want your receivers to catch it with their hands, but he's catching it with hands and fingers, and when it hits his hands, the ball really don't move at all unless somebody rips it out like Billy Walker did, but that was a great catch.
Gabalis off that slow mesh. He was looking deep, steps up, and taken down. Lance Rucker in the mix once again. He typically is often in the mix when it comes to bringing down a quarterback. And it's 3rd down and long.
Rucker is one of those, he will not give up on a play. So if you're Gabalis, you got to know when you're back there, if the initial coverage, everybody is locked down, you got to make up your mind what you want to do with the ball, because once you get to scrambling and running around, Lance Rucker is coming at you. Even if he's blocked, he's going to give first effort, second effort, third effort right there. He's able to get a good takedown on Gabalis.
So 3rd down and 10 for Tarleton State, who are 1 of 6 on 3rd down. Gabalis against pressure, steps into it again, and down he goes. North Dakota's defense gets home. That will go down as a sack. Credit it to Kaiwan Vengrowski, the D2 transfer from Winona State in Minnesota. Gets his second of the season.
For a defensive injury.
And that's an injury on the defensive side for North Dakota. But the Fighting Hawks are hanging in here in Stephenville, Texas, as we've reached the 2-minute timeout. 13-7, the 4-seed Tarleton State on top of North Dakota. Well, good to see star pass rusher Lance Rucker walking off under his own power after being banged up. By the way, with his sack earlier, he is officially the new North Dakota single-season sack leader with 11.5. And one of the guys he passes, his current head coach, Eric Schmidt, who did it in 2001, the year that North Dakota won the Division II national title.
How about that? You pass your coach, but you're making great plays, and I'm pretty sure Coach Eric Schmidt, he couldn't care less. But, you know, talking to him earlier this week, we talked to you like, well, I might have to bench him so he won't pass his record. But he was just joking. But Lance Rucker, just such a great player. Eric Schmidt was a great player here, so I'm pretty sure he doesn't mind at all.
And he was telling us, you know, we might back off a little on the pass rush. Yeah, not the case today. They have been after it, especially in this second quarter. That's a booming punt, meanwhile, from Mullen, but it bounces into the end zone for a touchback. And so North Dakota will get the ball at the 20-yard line. 1:50 to go before halftime. A 57-yard punt that's only going to net 30. And this North Dakota offense, which looked pretty much stuck in quicksand, able to get back in this thing courtesy of an interception. And they capitalized off of that. Meanwhile, we have a bunch coming up for you at halftime. A feature on Tarleton State's kicker, Brad Larson, his incredible story of overcoming childhood cancer all the way to his game-winning kick at Army in week 2. An incredible moment for him. Those stats and highlights and also scores around the FCS playoffs. A lot of great action going on this week. North Dakota to work in the 2-minute offense as Kaminsky fires. That's caught by Dennis. And the wood was laid in a big way from Tarleton State and Jaden Auburn.
Oh, my gosh. Let's see. You see the quick throw out there, and then you see Aubrey with the ouch. You got to know. You got to read zone, especially when you're a crossing receiver. Aubrey sitting there in that zone just waiting on him to cross and made him pay for that.
So Kaminsky's completed 4 of 5 passes after a 1 of 7 start, but not for a whole lot of yardage. Trying the sideline here, and on the back shoulder, a contested catch made by B.J. Fleming. Well, the Texas kid is back home. He beats Dabari Hawkins on a gain of 21.
And B.J. Fleming just showing you why he is what he is and why he's such a dangerous receiver. Kaminsky throwing out there back shoulder, and not only B.J. Fleming able to high point it, he's able to twist his body in a way to get the ball, get it, and get down in bounds. Just an impeccable, incredible catch and finish.
Maybe Kaminsky's best throw of the day. He rolls now. Room along the sideline, and he tight ropes it out of bounds at the 46-yard line of Tarleton State. So Kaminsky using his legs. 1:07 to go here in this first half. North Dakota's got all 3 of its timeouts. Plenty of time for this offense, who of course wants to try to keep it until the end of the half.
And Jack Kaminsky just did a good job of taking advantage of the defense being kind of apprehensive because they didn't know if he was going to step out of bounds, so they didn't want to take a chance of getting a late hit. And he took advantage of them slowing up a little bit to get a couple of extra yardage.
Kaminsky off the RPO. That's incomplete. Looking in the direction of Nate DeMontenac, who is their second leading receiver. Entered with 37 catches. He has yet to have a grab today. He was covered by Kearns. There's the North Dakota offense picking up in a big way in the second quarter, but one area where they have not picked it up is on third downs. 0 for 6. Their average distance to go has been about 7 yards. And a flag. Now the last thing you needed when you're having trouble converting.
Number 71, 5-yard penalty, third down.
I mean, one way to pick up first downs on third down is you have third and short, but now you make it third and long.
Yeah, you got to move. You got to stay put. You can't move. You got to stay put. And he jumped a little bit, jumped the gun, and that Texas defensive line making sure the referees saw it because they came on across the line. But you got to be disciplined, especially in situations like this and this crucial of a point in the ball game.
That was first team all-conference right tackle Seth Anderson. 3rd and 8. Kaminsky lofting it deep and incomplete. In the direction of DeMontenac, Dabari Hawkins in coverage with him stride for stride. And North Dakota, after what looked like a promising drive in the 2-minute drill, will have to punt it away to a dangerous Tarleton State offense who still has 58 seconds to work with.
We've seen some great defensive back play, but you see he has some space right there, had him beat, but the ball just fading too much to the sideline because he had him open. He had enough space to get it there, but Kaminsky just couldn't get it there, but still defensive back in trail mode was still in good position.
Luke Silvernail has had an outstanding day punting. That's probably an understatement. Another one pinned inside the 10. He's done that on each of his 4 kicks. A 45-yard boot that time. And Tarleton State backed up with 50 seconds to go in the first half, leading 13-7. So you have 3 timeouts. You've got the nation's leading offense scoring-wise, averaging more than 45 per game. Are you trying to move this thing down the field?
Yes, I'm trying to move it down the field, man.
I knew that was a yes.
I have a veteran quarterback. I trust him. He came into this ball game with just 4 picks. He's thrown a pick, but yes, I have a veteran quarterback. I have some veteran offensive players, so I'm trying to see what I can get, at least trying to see if I can get in field goal range.
Well, they hand it off on first down, and Caleb Lewis crosses the 10 to the 11, where Jai Martin brings him down. Again, they have those 3 timeouts. Interesting to see how they play this. They're letting some clock tick. And again, they start that drive with a run play. Well, I'm a little surprised by this, and I think you probably are too, huh?
I am. When you're averaging 45 points a game, is that what's that number in the FCS? Number 1, right?
Number 1.
Come on, man. So I'm a little surprised, but I think Coach Whitten say, look, let's just get to halftime. Let's regroup. We got 13-7 lead, so we don't need to try to force anything.
Now they run it with Lewis, and that'll take us to halftime. Tarleton State has a 13-7 lead. The number 4 national seed this season, leading at the half, 8-0. They are 11-1 on the season. their second year eligible for postseason play, trying to reach the quarterfinals in the FCS. But North Dakota, who made a charge in that second quarter after getting down 13-0, gets back in this thing and made it a ball game. So back and forth down the stretch of that first half. It's the 4-seed Tarleton State on top of North Dakota, 13-7 through a half of football here in Stephenville, Texas.
Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of the FCS Playoffs. I'm Matt Schick. Tarleton State is certainly making their mark on the FCS. In their second full season of postseason eligibility, the Texans won their conference and are a top 4 seed. For kicker Brad Larson, it's the biggest stage he's ever been on, but not the most difficult challenge he's ever faced. Lisa Salters has the story of how Larson has spent a lifetime overcoming and giving back.
It's a 37-yard field goal, the biggest in school history. Can you imagine?
I said it's going to come down to me. Saying gets twice as loud, and all I could hear is my heart.
Field goals are never just about the distance traveled or the path taken. They also require focus and fortitude, poise, and perseverance. For Tarleton State kicker Brad Larson, those qualities were developed very early in life.
The day he was born was amazing. He was born completely healthy and, just beautiful. His dad was super excited. He went and got him a Green Bay Packer outfit as soon as we found out that it was a boy.
He was my first son. I just remember being so happy to have one daughter and one son, just knowing that, one day him and I are going to be playing sports together, watching sports.
But those plans were almost immediately interrupted when Brad was 4 weeks old.
Something was blocking the air passage, and so he ended up having a surgery to clear the passage. And the doctors told us it should stop bleeding by the end of the day. And it really never stopped bleeding 100%.
Our pediatrician took one look at Bradley and said, let's walk on over to the hospital.
Brad was immediately admitted to the University of Kentucky Children's Hospital and diagnosed with acute megakaryoblast leukemia, a very rare type of blood cancer that attacks the bone marrow's ability to create healthy cells and can severely affect growth and development.
You know, it's kind of like a parent's worst nightmare. Doctors told us survival rate was around 25%.
We were told to get our affairs in order, you know, spend as much time with them. Don't take any moment for granted. We had several very scary days. There was one day his platelets got so low and he just started bleeding out, and I thought that was gonna be, you know, his time. Sorry. I mean, I just had to be strong, you know, because he needed me to be there for him.
3 rounds of chemotherapy every day. You know, they were taking blood. We celebrated our holidays in that hospital room. We had Halloween, and I remember Stacy got him a Superman costume, and I thought that was very fitting.
After spending 17 weeks in the hospital, Brad went into remission at 6 months old and was allowed to go home.
The doctor said, now, you know, I want to just kind of level set your expectations. You know, with all the treatment he had, he's not gonna be your athletic kid. You know, and he may struggle a little bit, you know, academically, but you know, we're just obviously just very happy that he was alive.
Bradley, did you find a pumpkin?
Within weeks of returning home, Brad doubled his weight, and despite the doctor's concern about his development, he continued to hit one growth milestone after another.
The doctor tells you he's not going to be athletic, but it doesn't mean he can't play sports, right? So started playing soccer when he was 3 years old, and you could tell he had something special. You know, I was just happy that he was out there kicking a ball, but he could run faster than everybody, he could dribble faster than everybody. I just remember watching him and just saying, wow, this is not normal.
Gave me an outlet. I made a lot of trips to the hospital after the aftermath for checkups, like twice a year, and I dreaded it. I was scared that the cancer was gonna come back. I mean, that was a big fear of my childhood. I would cry at night, I'd cry in the shower, I'd have bad dreams. But you play sports and you step foot on the field, you're not worrying. You're having fun, having a good time with your team.
It really kept him busy and took his mind off of things. And I mean, when we say like he played sports, he poured himself into sports.
By the time he reached high school, the family had moved to Texas, and soccer had been replaced by football and a new purpose. Brad partnered with Alex's Lemonade Stand, a charity dedicated to fighting childhood cancer.
In high school, we'd be on the bus going back to our facility, and I just can't wait to get on my phone and put how many points I scored that game, because the money's in pledge amounts. It means the world to me. Because I know that my parents struggled during that time. I know it was very hard for them. And I just know how much that would mean to families.
In 2023 and 2024, Brad continued to raise money while leading Division II Angelo State in scoring before transferring to Tarleton State for his final season.
The senior transfer from Angelo State, Brad Larson from Prosper, Texas. Here we go to shock the nation. And it is good! Tarleton State takes down Army. What a moment in program history.
In one moment, the boy who was never meant to play sports delivered Tarleton State's biggest win ever.
I went straight to my family. My dad was he was electric. And I could just see my mom just bawling. That was my favorite moment.
It was kind of hard not to have in the back of my mind what those doctors had said to us all those years ago. He's not going to be your athlete. He's not going to be your superstar. I thought of just how special it was to be there and what a miracle he was.
I think about my journey a lot, having almost a constant pressure in your life on the field, off the field. All that leads up to where I'm at now. The fact that I am here, that God has put me on this earth, I feel like that it's for a reason.
Brad ended up raising $14,000 in donations off of the kick against Army, and as of today has raised more than $50,000 to fight childhood cancer. And at a recent game against Eastern Kentucky, he was reunited with one of the nurses that took care of him when he was a baby. I'm Matt Schick. ESPN's coverage of the FCS playoffs continues after this break.
Back in Stephenville, Texas, where we've got a second-round showdown in the FCS Playoffs. The 4-seed Tarleton State on top of North Dakota, 13-7 through 30 minutes of action here inside Memorial Stadium as we welcome you back inside with the former Memphis running back, Doc Holliday. I'm Jack Benjamin. So we came on air. We talked about the takeaways for Tarleton State. Yeah, they've got these shirts, the culture they talk about. They came in leading the nation in takeaways. That was the story in the first half. 2 more for them, 1 for North Dakota, and that led to all the scores.
Because all they want to say is, give me that. Tarleton State, Texas, Comiskey back to pass. You know what they say? Give me that. I'm going to stretch out and get that. I want a T-shirt then. Hey, Bam said, I want a T-shirt too. He goes back out there, 2 turnovers, then outflank him. Young in the flat for the touchdown, but North Dakota been balling too, Jack.
How about Bennett Walker? I mean, it was 13-0. It was looking like it was slipping away. A huge momentum play, and then Seidel pays it off.
And the thing about it, you got to be careful. See, Tarleton State has the takeaway shirt, but North Dakota, they've been taking things too, so they might come up here and take that shirt from you, Jack. But if they come up here, I got your back, man. You ain't got to worry about nothing.
I was going to say North Dakota might need some turnover shirts of their own. Again, they are second in the nation behind Tarleton State in takeaways, now at 27 on the season. We'll come back with FCS scores after this halftime here in Stephenville, Texas at Memorial Stadium. The 4-seed Tarleton State on top of North Dakota 13-7. All right, the FCS scoreboard, a look around the various games going on nationally, and an upset brewing in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. How about Villanova, the 12 seed, on top of the 5 seed Lehigh? The winner of that one plays the winner of this one next week in a quarterfinal. Lehigh, inside a minute, is driving. They've got the ball inside the Villanova 30, so that's certainly a score that both of these teams will be keeping an eye on eventually. And you can look at some of those other games pretty tight. We expect that Abilene Christian Stephen F. Austin game to be pretty good. Another regular season rematch.
I see, man. I love what we're looking at in the playoffs. It's the playoffs with that Villanova Lehigh. I think a lot of people are looking at their ball game, especially both coaching staffs from the game that we're calling tonight.
No doubt about it. Some great games going on, including what we got here. 13-7, the 4 seed Tarleton on top. You're watching the NCAA FCS Championship on ESPN from the campus at Tarleton State University. The 4 seed Tarleton State on top of the North Dakota Fighting Hawks, 13-7 in favor of the Texans after a half of play in this second round FCS playoff matchup with Doc Holliday, Jack Benjamin on hand. A first half where Tarleton State jumped out early, led 13-0, looked like they were going to pull away and maybe run away and hide. North Dakota got back in this thing. Turnovers the storyline both ways in that first half. And that kick will just stay in bounds and hop into the end zone for a touchback. And we look at our first half stats. All right, so pretty much all that yardage for North Dakota came in the second quarter. 12 total yards in the first quarter. What else hops out to you?
Well, that's what you call bending but don't break. Look at the third downs. North Dakota 0 for 7 on third down. Tarleton State not much better, just 1 of 7 on third downs, which means that's telling me that both defenses are locking down when they need to lock down.
You can see both teams struggling on third down. A combined 1 for 14. Time of possession heavily in favor of Tarleton State, who ran 8 more plays than North Dakota in that first half, and they have the ball to start off the third quarter with Hines on the ground and not a whole lot doing. So Tarleton State in that opening half rushed it for 82 yards. Again, only one team has gone over 100 against this North Dakota defense on the ground this season, a defense That is number 6 nationally against the run.
But talking to Todd Whitten, he said you got to be hard-headed in your running game when you play in North Dakota. You just can't stop giving it to your running backs and giving it to your rushers just because it's hard to get some yardage. So he says he's going to commit to the run game, and he's been doing that.
Victor Gabalis to the sideline, complete. That is Trayvon West, who has had 4 100-plus yard receiving games this season. Redshirt senior from Fort Worth. And it brings up 3rd down and short. Gabalis in the first half, 9 for 17 for 117 with a touchdown and an interception. It was, again, only his 5th interception thrown this year. That is against 29 touchdown passes. Tarleton State in the first half, 1 for 7 on 3rd downs. 3rd and a yard. It's Lewis. He didn't get it in the initial surge, and then on the second effort able to push the pile forward for a 1st down. So that's good persistence, and that offensive line gave him a boost as well.
Exactly. That's why they tell you to always keep your legs moving and your knees going forward. You see the initial hit, puts his head and his shoulder pads down, but he twists around, is able to get some push. As a running back, that's what you say, never die easily, and you never want to die easily, and he didn't die easily, so this offensive series is able to live.
Empty backfield for Gabalis. Time to throw. Throwing deep, and he's got a man in stride. Peyton Kramer racing into the purple for Pater. And a 64-yard touchdown for Tarleton State as the Texans strike right away to start the second half.
That's what you call stretch him and catch him off guard. Gabalis sitting out there. You see everybody flank out, spreads out, and he goes right up the seam, just a seam route. Runs right past the free safety, and Gabalis throws a perfect ball to Peyton Kramer. Runs underneath it, didn't even have to break stride or slow up because the pass was just that perfect, and Peyton Kramer was just that perfect with this catching. Huge play for this Texas offense, and that is the way you come out of the locker room and start the second half if you're Tarleton State.
Kramer, first-team all-conference receiver. That's his 7th receiving touchdown of the season, and now Tarleton State is going to try to go for 2 to stretch this to a full 14-point lead. Hines, the running back. Now they motion Gabalis out. They're in the Wildcat. It's Hines faking the handoff, gets to the edge, and has a 2-point conversion. So Tarleton State now 3 for 3 on 2-point conversions this season. And the Texans showing off the firepower right away to start this 3rd quarter.
And look at this play call. Love it again. Gabalis standing back there, seam route, Peyton Kramer up the hash and just outrun them all. And then you come back with the 2-point conversion. You say, we're going to give it to you now. You go around there. Everybody blocks. You just go to the corner, go to the pylon. Show them that you're faster than them. Hines just did that, and now Tarleton State with the 21-7 lead. And I understand why they went for 2, because you know what that makes it. Jack, I'm touching you right now, man. 2 touchdowns.
A couple TDs. The 21-7, a 4-play, 75-yard scoring drive, and that 64-yard strike from Gabalis to Peyton Kramer, who came in leading the team in receiving yards and now has 83 yards on the day on 3 catches. His first 2 grabs went for 19 total. That touchdown, his 7th of the year, goes for 64.
That was just impressive. Just a very impressive first drive, physical first drive by that Tarleton State Texans offense coming out in the second half, motivated.
Another short kickoff. That's been the strategy all day long. A flag is down after the play. It flew in. I tell you what, that ref tossed that flag about 10 yards. That was impressive. Not like it's the windiest of days, too. Our officiating crew discussing this. Justin Ackley, our
There is no
referee.
foul for an illegal block below the waist. It'll be 1st down.
So no foul. They pick up the flag. And a 21-7 lead now for Tarleton State, the number 4 national seed. Again, just their 2nd year being eligible for postseason play at the Division I level after converting to D1, reclassifying from D2 in 2020. So North Dakota's offense, can they respond now? It was tough sledding for them to move the ball in the first half for much of it. benefited from the Bennett Walker interception deep in Tarleton State territory where they punched in their one score. On first down, Seidel, not a whole lot doing it. I tell you what, you start giving a lot of credit, we already have, to this Tarleton State defense, and Brandon Tolvert is starting to flex up front, the fifth-year senior from Columbus, Georgia.
And he is flexing. This Tarleton State defensive line is kind of surprising. They dominate the line of scrimmage because their North Dakota offensive line is extremely good. But so far, Tarleton State holding up their own and really doing a great job in the trenches.
Colton Brunel in the backfield. Kaminsky keeps it. And he didn't get a ton. He's out to the 40. Devin Sterling on the stop. And it's a short pickup of 3 yards. And now third down and long again, 3rd and 6. By the way, it is a final. Villanova 14-7 over the 5-seed Lehigh. So an upset there. The winner of this one gets Villanova next week. Either it would be Tarleton State hosting or North Dakota traveling to Pennsylvania. Kaminsky on target, and he's got DeMontenac for a first down. That is DeMontenac's first catch. Came in as their second leading receiver.
But you got to love that play. Kaminsky standing back there, great coverage. He just rips one. DeMontenac in the slot, goes right up the hash, finds a hole in the zone. Kaminsky gets it to him. DeMontenac gets his hands on it, comes down with a huge catch, and that's exactly what North Dakota needed because they got some momentum going in their second quarter. So, of course, you know they want to answer the way Tarleton State just came out and scored a touchdown on their defense.
Their first third down conversion of the game. Not much room to run for Langema, brought down by A.J. Owens. This Tarleton State rush defense has been up to the challenge. Second down and 10 after no gain. Owens, the leading tackler on this defense, came in 9th in the Missouri Valley Football Conference in tackles with the 81 entering today. Z. Barth, the running back for North Dakota, on second down. Off play action, Kaminsky. Looking sideline, some combat down there. It's incomplete. DeMontenac was covered tightly by one of the safeties, Blake Smith.
Jack, it was actually a conglomeration of congestion over there. You had two receivers just all over the place. You got Tarleton State getting some pressure, whipping around in the middle, but it was like some confusion of these North Dakota receivers on these outsiders, like everybody was in the same position. No one could get free because you had good defense being played by the defenders as well.
The North Dakota, who converted their first third down moments ago, trying to do it again. Kaminsky stepping up, rolling out, and he is out of bounds at about the 36-yard line. Now this is where things get interesting if you're North Dakota. You're sort of in no man's land. Again, the kicking game has been incredibly suspect all season long. This is probably has to be go-for territory.
Of course it is. Of course it is. But once again,
Officials
Tarleton State playing
great
defense. Whether they're playing zone, they were just playing man-to-man right there. No one to throw the ball, so they made Kaminsky make a decision. And now North Dakota has to make a decision as they're facing this fourth down.
The man down for Tarleton State is Robert Rios, 6th-year senior from Killeen, Texas, out of Shoemaker High School. He had a terrific game in their season finale against Austin Peay. Had his first TFL of the season. He had a couple of QB hurries. Guy who was switched from the offensive line to the defensive line for Tarleton State. So as they attend to him, North Dakota setting up for what's going to be a 4th down and 6. They are 1 for 2 today on 4th downs. On the season entering today, they came in right around 54%. One of the more aggressive teams in the Missouri Valley Football Conference under Isaac Frichte, who had a cup of coffee in the NFL, actually signed with the Vikings after going undrafted out of Minnesota in 2015. He actually played in an NFL game in the 2016 season finale, Vikings and Bears. And tell you what, he's a great offensive mind. What's he trying to dial up here?
Well, he's trying to show that his team can make something happen. You have Kaminsky, a quarterback that he does trust, so I wouldn't be surprised if I see a little play action trying to catch this Tarleton State defense out of position so to pick up the first down, because they got to have something good happen for their offense right now.
They need the 30 to keep the drive alive. Kaminsky going deep, has a man And it is incomplete. Looking for B.J. Fleming with Giovanni Melidor out in coverage. And the redshirt senior from Columbia, South Carolina, another terrific play in the pass game. Now this Tarleton State defense, they've been up to the task, haven't they?
Yes, sir. They said, Melidor said, no, you're not going to get that, but you are going to get more of this game when we come back after the break.
So North Dakota turns it over on downs. This Tarleton State defense stands strong again. The number 4 national seed up 21-7. You saw those fans shirtless out there today in a beautiful day in Stephenville, Texas. A program that began in 1904. They were a long-time Division II program. They began as a junior college, then D2, then up to Division I level in 2020. They had 2 incredibly successful seasons to finish off their Division II tenure in 2018 and 2019, won back-to-back Lone Star Conference championships. And they were one of the great programs in terms of a reclassification period in the history of Division I football, frankly. Did an incredible job transitioning up to Division I as Hines gets a nice chunk play on first down. I'll tell you what, you give a lot of credit to Todd Whitten, this administration, the money they've put into this thing. I mean, the stadium's had multiple renovations. They have a beautiful new athletic complex that's $100+ million. It's the kind of program that's invested and it's paid off.
It is. You can tell, man, and you can see why players will want to come here. I can see why players will want to come here, not only because of Todd Whitten and the program he's built and he's building, but it's just the infrastructure and the investment they put into this program. Everything looks absolutely immaculate.
Hines is up near midfield with a first down.
Hines is totally appeal, man. I mean, the Tarleton State offensive line doing a great job of moving that North Dakota defensive line out the way, but Hines has great feet, he has quickness, but the patience and the vision, and look at him get behind his shoulder pass, and he's dragging defenders. I just love his all-around running back skill level.
Well, think about how great it was to have him come back from the dislocated elbow, because they lost Trey Page, the star freshman for the year. Gabalis with time to the sideline, and that's caught by Trayvon West. You know, Trey Page is up for the Jerry Rice Award for the top freshman in the FCS. They lost him the same week that Hines came back from injury. So you lose one star freshman running back, you replace him with a veteran, and there's Page on the sideline. Unfortunately, it really hurts to not see him be able to go. He really was one of the great players in all of FCS football this season, but a great young man. He's got a bright future ahead.
Yeah, second team all-conference, ran for 139 yards, averaging 7.5 yards a carry, 7 touchdowns, averaging 104 yards a game, rushing yards before he got hurt.
Hines, meanwhile, picking up the slack. That's a nice tackle in space by Malachi McNeil, one of the leaders on this defense. First team all-conference linebacker able to keep him shy of the first down. But the running lanes are starting to open up a little bit, and that's kind of what happens when the defense is on the field for a long time, the way North Dakota's has been.
And that's what happens when your defense is out there for a long time, and when your Tarleton State offense, you know that. So keep pressing and keep pressing on them and pushing on them, and eventually the holes are going to open up, and that's exactly what we've been seeing in the last couple of plays.
Caleb Lewis ahead, meanwhile, for a first down on what was a short 3rd down and 1. So Tarleton State's run game starting to bear down. You think of this slow mesh RPO offense, and you think about a team that's air raid and wants to pass it, but they really, when they're at their best, play complementary football and can really run it well, and we've seen the staple of backs they have.
Yeah, Coach Whitten is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. He said, I don't care if we're getting 1 yard a carry. Basically, we're going to still keep toting that pill, and that's still toting that pill. And right now on this drive, Hines has been toting that pill, but North Dakota doing a great job of knocking him out of bounds for a minimal of no gain on that play.
Malachi McNeil, who came in as the leading tackler on this North Dakota defense. A little extracurricular after the play here. McNeil, who the coaching staff was just raving about. Eric Schmidt told us this guy's motor is off the charts, and it's contagious. You know about that. I'm sure you had teammates who were. I'm sure you were contagious around your teammates with your energy.
Man, I'm contagious up here, man. See, my hands been on you, man.
Your energy's running. It's running off on me, man.
Telling me to calm down. I don't know how to calm down, man. I'm finna get over there.
I'm trying to get on your level here, Doc.
No, it's all good.
Gabalis, meanwhile, stepping up in the pocket. And Gabalis out of bounds. So he's inside the 40. They'll spot him out right around the 37-yard line or so. And it brings up a 3rd down.
And Jack, you know what I'm saying from this Tarleton State offense right now? Swagger, confidence. You can tell in the body language. North Dakota is out there. I see a couple of players with their hands on the hip. With Tarleton State, they picked up a lot of confidence if they didn't already have any coming into this ball game. You know they did, but now I think they see a rhythm. They see some things that are going well, and so far they see their offensive line winning their blocks, and they feel like they can do anything they want to do right now.
Gabalis with time, and on a back shoulder, he's got Marquise Willis. A beautiful throw and catch. Another reception for Willis. That's his 3rd today. And another first down for Tarleton State.
Jack, he threw this ball from the far hash over to this sideline and was able to get it there with velocity and get it there on point, and Willis is there to catch it. Man, that throw was just extremely impressive, and the catch was impressive too. But Gabalis, my gosh, my God. What you call him? Gaballer?
Gaballer.
He's a Gaballer. That was a nice throw, man, from this hash to this sideline on a rope.
And he's a guy who began his career as a walk-on at Washington State. He was in Pullman for 2 years, went to Utah Tech, was a starter there for a year. Now his 3rd year as Tarleton State starter. One of the best quarterbacks in America at the FCS level. That's Hines on a stretch run. And taken down by Kaiwan Vengrowski. You know, Gabalis, you think about how far he's come from a football IQ perspective. I think one of the great stories we heard this week, talking with the coaches, Todd Whitten was joking around. You know, he arrived in Stephenville, his 4th year playing college football, really his 1st year in a pro-style offense with the slow mesh and all the concepts. A lineman, it was like the 5th or 6th game of the year, one of the linemen said, hey, we got to kick out on a third down play. Victor Gabalis punted the ball. He thought he meant to punt it. Coaching staff says, what are you doing, man? Gabalis, meanwhile, complete. There's Trayvon West. He's loose, and he's inside the 10, 1st and goal. I'd say he's come a long way since that. He's slinging that thing around today, 1st and goal for Tarleton State.
Slinging it around. You see Trayvon West right here. Well, look at the throw, the slow mess, and West just with the hitch route, stop route, then makes a couple of people miss it. Look at the sideways slide. Get up the field, and once again, this Texans offense is playing with all kinds of confidence.
So goal to go for Tarleton State, already leading 21-7. North Dakota's held them to a couple of field goals. Can they hold them to another? Well, that's one way to start. Great play in the backfield. Kaiwan Vengrowski. Tell you what, the D2 transfer from Winona State in Minnesota has been tremendous. And he gets him in the backfield for a loss of a yard.
And that's one thing about North Dakota, especially this North Dakota defensive unit. They're not going to quit. They're going to keep coming. I don't care if you win some plays against them. They're going to keep coming until they try to break you. So you're not going to break their spirit. They're going to continue to play.
Lewis next to Gabalis on 2nd and goal at the 11. It is Lewis. He gets a couple. Brings up 3rd down and goal. So interesting there. They go with the run. And North Dakota's defense up to the challenge. By the way, Tarleton State now north of 100 yards allowed today. Again, this is a defense that came in 6th nationally, allowing fewer than 100 rush yards, and we are still with 3.5 to go here in the 3rd. So Tarleton State, credit that offensive line, credit those backs today.
And I don't know if North Dakota has allowed it. I think Tarleton State just taken it because they came out here and taken the physical mindset and is doing a real good job in the run game.
Gabalis to the end zone, incomplete. He was looking for Tier Young. And the field goal unit will come out for Tarleton State. So once again, North Dakota bends but does not break in the red zone and goal to go. 3rd time they're going to hold Tarleton State to a field goal attempt.
That's what you call having defensive pride. They understand when they get down to the red zone and they get down there to that danger zone, you don't want to give up any points, so you try a little harder, you play a little harder, and you focus your mind a little bit more because you don't want to give up 6.
Brad Larson's 2 for 2 today. This one from 26. He's already made from 22 and from 40, and that one is true. And Larson is now 13 for 15 on the season. One of the great stories in college football. 24-7 in favor of the 4-seed Tarleton State late in the 3rd. Well, Tarleton State, the number 4 national seed, getting a big boost from wide receiver Marquise Willis. He's come on in this game.
He's one of those situations you say, look, Gabalis, look, coach, count on me, give it to me. Willis right there, a great catch, and we see that catch right there. That was able to set up them huge points that Tarleton State just got. But Willis coming up huge today. All you need is an opportunity. I don't care where you're working, now you're here.
Well, again, native of Atlanta, a guy who was recruited out of high school. that was well done, by the way. Trust me, buddy. I got you. But again, native of Atlanta, out of Roswell High School, he was a star. And again, his older brother, Malik, you know a thing or two about him now with the Packers in the NFL after a terrific career playing at Liberty after starting at Auburn. But he started at Coahoma Community College, was a quarterback there. And they have transitioned him into a terrific wide receiver. It's really been the last couple of games where he's come on. Willis, his first 10 games, had 11 catches. He's now got 8 grabs over his last 3. Meanwhile, North Dakota will go back to work offensively, down by 17. And 3:07 to go here in the third. Oh, yeah, here's what we're talking about now. Yeah, we're in Texas, but even the pancakes are purple out here. Tarleton State on top 24-7, late third. Well, here's a look at the second round of the FCS playoffs. Already one upset in the books. Villanova, the 12 seed, goes to the 5 seed Lehigh and knocks them off in the Battle of Pennsylvania. So Villanova moves on to play either the 4 seed Tarleton State or North Dakota in our game here in a quarterfinal next week. If Tarleton State wins, they would host it. If North Dakota somehow comes back, that game would be at Villanova. Kaminsky and North Dakota's offense going nowhere to start off this drive. A huge sack from A.J. Owens, his second of the year.
That Tarleton State defense not going to let North Dakota or Kaminsky get anything going. A.J. Owens said, I see you pump fake on the throw. Oh, you don't want to throw it, you want to pull it down? Well, I'm going to pull you down. Coming up with a huge sack.
How good has he been today? We've been calling his name all over the place. Guy who defensive coordinator Tyrone Nix calls maybe the smartest player on their defense. And he's got some game to go with that. He was a huge catalyst in their win at Army early in the year. Kaminsky on a draw play. Not a whole lot doing. It's been a one-dimensional offense for North Dakota. There just haven't been a lot of answers. Devin Sterling there again. Tarleton State's defense, again, maybe they went a little under the radar because they were the top scoring offense in FCS football, but they came in allowing just 18.4 points per game. That was 12th in the country.
Well, you know what, Jack? You know who just made that play? It was really A.J. Owens because he went to the outside. He made the quarterback cut it up the field and where his help was, because where your help is where the heels are, and A.J. Owens and that Tarleton State defense continuing to come up with huge plays.
You saw their numbers for the season, and a spot they've been great all season as well has been third down defense. North Dakota just 1 for 9. They need 13. Kaminsky to the sideline, and on a back shoulder, that's complete to B.J. Fleming. I'll tell you who's coming to play in the receiving corps is the Texas kid. Native of Aledo, again, about 60 miles away from Dallas.
And the thing about it, B.J. Fleming says, just give me an opportunity. You can see the back shoulder, but what he was able to do was able to stop his momentum and stop right now. Turn around, make a great catch on the back shoulder, and Kaminsky is able to get it there. And, yeah, of course, B.J. Fleming, I'm pretty sure he has a lot of friends and family in here, and he's trying his best to will his team to something positive.
And he was in the FCS playoffs last year with Northern Arizona. Spent 3 years in Flagstaff. Off the play action fake, and there's a crosser and a connection to Caden Dennis. So they get him going. He comes off not having a reception in his last 3 games. He gets 22 right there.
And what it is, the RPO is the play action. It's the man-to-man. Kane didn't put the man-to-man. He wins the man-to-man, able to get over top of the defender, and Kaminsky doing a great job of getting the ball there.
So back-to-back completions for 16 and now 22. And all of a sudden, North Dakota on the move. Final minute, third quarter, down 17. Got to have points here. They run it with Seidel, and he's taken down at the 37-yard line after a pickup of 3. So North Dakota does not have to snap it before the end of the third, but it would be in their best benefit too, because the clock's not on their side now. It's not an offense that loves to hurry up and play from behind. They're going to have to do that here. Final 10 seconds, third quarter. Langema and Seidel in the backfield next to Kaminsky. They'll just snap it as the third quarter comes to a close. Kaminsky is upended around the 35-yard line with a flag. So that's the final play of the quarter. Let's watch and see what it is on the flag. Looks like this is going on North Dakota. And that would be a backbreaker, considering they were in a manageable third down spot.
Personal foul, illegal blindside block, offense, number 3, 15-yard penalty, second down.
Now that is a crusher. It goes on
This is
Nate
the end of the third quarter.
the wide receiver, on a blindside block. You saw it there. He knocked Devin Sterling down. We go to the fourth. Work to do for North Dakota. The 4-seed Tarleton State leads by 17 in the second round of the FCS Playoffs. Well, it has been quite the day in Stephenville, Texas. We start the fourth quarter. Look at all the shirtless fans in the stands. They've been that way all day. Hey, when it's 64 degrees outside, you can do that.
Got us topless Texas there, Jack, because their team is on the top side right now, man.
The number 4 national seed, the Tarleton State Texans. Their best season to date at the Division I level since transitioning up in 2020, trying to reach their first FCS quarterfinal. There's the quarterback comparison for you. By the way, in Grand Forks right now, for those interested, 8 degrees. Not sure you can go shirtless out there, but
you can.
You can.
Go right to the hospital afterwards, but you can do it.
2nd and 22 after that penalty to finish off the third. North Dakota has not won a game this year when trailing after 3 quarters. It's Kaminsky looking sideline, and that's just out of the reach of Nate DeMontenac. And it brings up 3rd down and forever. So North Dakota down 17 to the number 4 national seed. Again, the winner here gets Villanova, the 12 seed who upset the 5 seed Lehigh in the 2nd round earlier today in Pennsylvania.
I love the route, though. DeMontenac comes out and runs a corner route. Kaminsky has some space if he could have got it there, but just threw it a little bit too high and a little bit too long. But you see North Dakota understanding they got to come out and be aggressive and try to make something happen right now.
Can North Dakota pick up a chunk and make it a manageable 4th down? They're not going to do that. It was intended for Fleming. And coverage, Cassius Kearns, who's had an outstanding day. He's already had the interception earlier. We talked about what he means to this defense. That interception earlier was his 6th. Came in tied for 2nd nationally in picks.
This Tarleton State defense has just been absolutely impressive. The offense has been impressive, but this defense for sure, because they've done great against the run and they've done even better against the pass because these DBs been covering.
Another punt from Luke Silvernail, who has been just terrific today. And that backs up Caleb Lewis inside his 10 once again. So Silvernail is averaging about 50 a punt. 38 that one, and pins them inside the 10 once again, which he has done on all 5 of his punts this season. Well, meanwhile, the NCAA FCS championship coverage continues next Friday and Saturday with quarterfinal coverage on ABC, ESPN, and ESPN Plus. For more information, go to ncaa.com, the home for all NCAA championships. Well, big storyline here. Lance Rucker, the star pass rusher for North Dakota, who's now got the single season sacks record, on the bench without a helmet. And he has not played so far in the 2nd half. So that is a huge storyline because he was basically a one-man wrecking crew on the pass rush. It's been non-existent since.
It is, and it's tough to see him go out of the game with the injury and not being able to play and probably not being able to finish this game, what it looks like, because he's been such a huge factor to everything North Dakota has done defensively and was starting to do defensively. So such a huge loss to see him sitting on the sideline.
First team All Missouri Valley Conference. That's a hard honor to get in the best conference in FCS football. Gabalis gives off to Hines. And that time they set the edge very well. Kaiwan Vengrowski, first man on the scene. He's the backup for Rucker. Tell you what, he's played really well. The D2 transfer from Winona State.
He is. Well, you see how well Lance Rucker plays, but he comes out there and just runs Hines down. That's what you call playing with persistence. He got his hands on him. Hines thought he was going to go away, but he continued to trek him before he was finally able to corral him.
So after the stretch run doesn't go for much, it's 3rd down and 9. North Dakota needs a stop in the worst way. Early in the 4th, trailing the 4 seed Tarleton State by 17. Gabalis to the sideline, and that is caught out of bounds. Trayvon West snatched it, but couldn't get a toe down. And North Dakota's defense does exactly what the doctor ordered for them. They force a 3 and out.
But look at the route. Trayvon West ran a great route, great comeback. Just Gabalis just threw the ball too high because Trayvon came in, tried his best to get his feet down, but as I said, great
number 9
comeback
is wearing
route
number
by
96.
West. Gabalis just missed that throw.
So Charlie Mullen will punt to Zach Lewis. Mullen 3 punts today, averaging about 46. He punts from his own end zone. Remember, North Dakota thought they blocked a punt for a touchdown earlier, ended up being called for a penalty. This time Mullen gets it away, and Lewis has to backtrack and let that one bounce, and that will take a Tarleton State hop inside the 40. And North Dakota will set up shop right around its own 38-yard line. Early in the 4th, the 4-seed Tarleton State on top by 17. Well, North Dakota head coach Eric Schmidt is UND through and through, a linebacker from 1998 to 2001, part of that 2001 Division II national title team for the Fighting Hawks. He then was a linebackers coach from 2006 to 2007 and came back as the defensive coordinator for 6 seasons under Bubba Schweiger, who was the head coach of this program for a decade before moving into a senior administrative role. So Eric Schmidt now takes over in his first head coaching job since coaching at the high school level back at Crookston High School in Minnesota in 2005. But a guy who has had so much success as a coordinator and now leading this North Dakota team back to the FCS playoffs for the first time in a couple of seasons. His team is still in this thing, but their offense has to get moving. His defense has done their part. On first down, it's Kaminsky, and that is incomplete with a flag. Well, they had Fleming with Giovanni Melidor draped all over him. And look at pass interference here, and this will become...
Pass interference, defense, number 1, automatic, first down.
So, via penalty, an automatic first down for North Dakota. That's the way they needed that drive to start.
They're doing Melidor. That's just an easy call. B.J. Fleming trying to get open, but Melidor got his hands on him, around him, almost in his jersey, right in front of the referees. But going back to Eric Schmidt, I just love what Coach Schmidt is doing. He's at his alma mater, and when coaches head coach specifically at a program they played for and won big, it means more to them than it would someone else. So I can see the mentality that he's imprinting on this squad. I love everything that Eric Schmidt is doing.
He worked under his college coach in North Dakota, Dale Lennon, the Hall of Famer, for 8 years. A while back as well. Meanwhile, they get going on the ground with Zebarth pushing that pile forward. And he is down near the 37-yard line.
This is what worked for them last week against Tennessee Tech. They led 10-6 going into the fourth quarter, but they outscored Tennessee Tech 21-0 in their fourth quarter. And Zebarth was a big reason why. They turned it around and started giving it to him and just kept pounding and pounding away.
To the ground again. Oh, Zebarth breaks loose. He's got green grass ahead. And Zebarth is tugged down near the 5. A touchdown saving tackle from Avion Rice as Zebarth gives North Dakota goal to go.
And this is so impressive by a big back. Gets to the line of scrimmage, nowhere to go. Yes, it is. I'm going to bounce outside. And look at Kaminsky. He's out there to throw a block, but really just to shade. But Zebarth doing a good job. Nowhere to go when you get into the front of that offensive line in the middle. Bounces it to the outside. Great vision, just great reliability by the quarterback as well to go out there and try to help Zebarth pick up some good chunk yardage.
Would you believe it if I said that guy broke his collarbone in 2 places in October? Talk about toughness. First and goal, North Dakota. Kaminsky rolling left, and he's tripped up. Another play in the open field from A.J. Owens. We have called his name a whole lot today, and for good reason. A guy who started his career at Lamar, then Hutchinson Community College, and now Tarleton State.
And just a great read by A.J. Owens. You see North Dakota with 2 receivers, one on the crossing route deep in back of the end zone, then the other one in the flat. But A.J. Owens is there because Kaminsky had to make the decision to run it in the open space. A.J. Owens doing a great job with the shoestring tackle.
They pitch it. Seidel trying to get the edge, and he is in for 6. North Dakota able to get back a little closer. They're within 11 as Seidel runs his second score today.
That's what they do. That's what they're known for. Regardless of the score, they're going to be who they're going to be, and that's their 7-on-1 moving company. The offensive line, you see 2 pullers out there, and Seidel, look at the patience. Find somewhere to run, nice little stiff arm, reverse spinach in the end zone, huge touchdown.
Yeah, for those wondering, the 701, that's the area code of Grand Forks. And those jerseys are highly coveted, the ones who wear 7, 0, and 1. Meanwhile, they'll go for 2. Down 11. Kaminsky rolling, looking, throws, incomplete. Intended target was one of his wideouts in Trey Kuntz, actually one of his backup tight ends. And another look here at the touchdown.
And I wish we could see the blocking on there. And Seidel, Jack. Seidel.
Well, the Fighting Hawks needed to respond and did. A 4-play, 62-yard drive, and they get a 5-yard touchdown rush from Sawyer Seidel, who runs in his second today and 13th touchdown of the year.
We got to give that offensive line and Z-Barth a lot of credit for what happened on that drive. Seidel just finished it off. He's supposed to be the finisher, but Z-Barth with punches. 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 O-line with punches and punches, and Seidel with the finisher.
So you're starting to see that ground game emerging for North Dakota. The question is it too little, too late? Still plenty of time in this game. North Dakota's defense has been up to the task. It is Luke Silvernail to boot it away on the kickoff, which he's not done much this year. And this is Rosemond, a little bit of a crease and taken down shy of the 30-yard line. So Tarleton State's offense back to work. North Dakota, I mean, if you were to tell Eric Schmidt, you'll have held Tarleton State to 24 early in the fourth. With everything that's gone on in this game, he'd probably say, all right, that's fine, but it's going to be hard to win a game against this offense when you're only scoring 13 points.
Yeah, it really is. You need more offensive input for your offense, especially when you're taking on the offense and a team like Tarleton State. And we talked about the 24 points, and they basically gave them 3 points earlier because they thought they had something and made a penalty, and Tarleton State was able to get a field goal. But if Schmidt, I'm pretty sure you like where you are, but you really don't like where you are because you're still losing the ball game.
Remember, they've had Tarleton State 3 times in goal to go where they've held them to field goal to attempts, so that's been huge. Gabalis on first down. Rolling to his left, buying time. Across his body, an open man. Streaking, it's Joyner. And down near the 20. A huge gain in the pass game for Tarleton State. There is a flag. And this might be an illegal man downfield.
Ineligible player downfield. Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, there's that slow mesh concept. That's the issue with it. Jordan Love, the center, is called for the penalty. So break this down a little bit. This offense, this is kind of where he can get in trouble at times.
Well, I really can't blame him on this because you see coverage, you see Gabalis, he's going to scramble. So right now you're scrambling. Is he going to run it? Is he going to throw it? And that's, you want to protect him. You see Gabalis settling down, but as an offensive lineman, you kind of lose sight of the line of scrimmage because you're trying to engage and block and make something happen. So I kind of like give him a pass on that because he's still trying to do his job. They're just a tough penalty.
Gabalis airing it out, and in stride, it's Willis. Goodbye. He'll walk in. A 77-yard strike. And just like that, Tarleton State taking over here in the fourth. Gabalis on the money again.
Now we're talking about can you answer. North Dakota comes down, do what they did, score a touchdown. So if you're Tarleton State, you're Gabalis, you're like, okay, Gabalis, how you gonna answer this, man? Is it gonna be called waiting? You gonna send him the voicemail? He's like, no, I'm answering on the first ring. We got us a penalty. Gabalis said, that's cool. It's just gonna make this touchdown throw a little bit longer. Willis just run past everybody. Gabalis just gets it to him, and a huge strike by this Texas offense.
Fourth catch for Willis, 133 yards, and that 77-yard score. Extra point from Larson is true. Willis has his 4th touchdown grab of the year, and this guy has emerged in a huge way today. Again, he had totaled entering today 326 receiving yards all season. More than a third of the way there today.
And just look at Willis. It's just man to man. All he did is run a go route. All he doing is run a go route. He got a nice little slow stutter off the line of scrimmage, made the DB just pause for 1 second, and Willis put on the Rockets and got right past him, right on the top of him. The free safety couldn't help out. Willis just outran them both in Gabalis doing what he does. How many yards he throw for the regular season? About 2,500. He showed you why. Perfect ball, perfect route, perfect play, perfect reaction, perfect touchdowns for the Tarleton State Texans.
A huge day receiving wise for Marquise Willis. Previous season high in receiving had been 73 yards against North Alabama, but again, he has come on strong of late. Guy who began his career at the JUCO ranks at Coahoma Community College in Mississippi. Again, he wasn't playing football last year. He was working at UPS. He's making a big statement in the FCS playoffs now. A run back, Seidel, taken down at the 25. It doesn't matter where you start, right? It's where you finish. It's about the journey, not the destination. And Willis has gotten where he needs to be. And Tarleton State's lead now 18 points. It's largest of the game.
You're exactly right, Jack. That's why I said it earlier. It doesn't matter where you were. Put the ER on it. Right. You got to put a little emphasis on it because it don't matter where you were. He was at UPS last year, but that's what you call that never quit, never give up attitude. He knew and was hoping he would get an opportunity, got an opportunity. So you have to salute young Royals like that because he's out here and he's coming up huge today.
Older brother Malik got to be watching on pretty happily, getting ready for his game with the Packers tomorrow. All right, North Dakota, can they respond again now? Can they keep up with this high-octane Tarleton State offense? Kaminsky to the sideline. He was looking for Dennis and covered well by Debari Hawkins. These corners for Tarleton State, we were talking about Kearns and how good he is. The duo of him and Hawkins, about as good a duo of corners as you'll see in the FCS.
And Tyrone Nix, the defensive coordinator, has all kinds of confidence in it because he brought some pressure. He's blitzing out the edges, blitzing in the middle, and that means his DBs have to go man to man. He has confidence that he can bring pressure, he can blitz, and his DBs can cover man to man and not give up a big play.
That pass almost intercepted. Oh, it was through the hands of Dennis, deflected a couple of times, and Tarleton State nearly had a third interception of the day. A.J. Owens got a paw on it.
And once again, Nick's bringing the fire, putting even more pressure on Kaminsky and this North Dakota offense. And you see, nice little defensive tackle stunt. Almost got the tip drill there, but these Texans still being extremely aggressive on defense.
Again, they lead the nation in takeaways. 3rd down and 10. Bringing pressure on Kaminsky, who dumps it underneath. And not a whole lot doing in the pass game that time. And again, he gets one of his tight ends, Aiden Benmeyer. Only a couple of yards. You're down 18 points. You're at your own, 29-yard line. Not really a choice here when you're in a 3-score game. 4th and 6. Kaminsky feeling the heat. A flag is down. That pass was dropped along the sideline by DeMontenac. But again, a flag is down in the backfields. And we'll see about it.
There are fouls by both teams on the play. Holding, defense, number 1. Holding, offense, number 71. Those fouls offset. Replay, 4th down.
So a hold on right tackle Seth Anderson for North Dakota, canceled out by Giovanni Melidor, the corner holding for Tarleton State. And that means we repeat 4th down and 6. And virtually, for all intents and purposes, the ball game right here.
Yeah, it's a big play. We just had some reciprocation on the previous play, a hold, but now North Dakota with another opportunity on this 4th and long. And as you say, they have to get a 1st down.
Need the 35 to keep their season alive, likely. Kaminsky trying to run for it. He won't do it. Tarleton State's defense does it once again. There is a flag. It's around the 43-yard line.
Holding, defense, number 5. 10-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
So Tolvert and Griffiths will have their work go for naught because of the hold here on the outside against Hawkins. And that was against Fleming.
Well, that's a pretty easy call. Hawkins tackled him. You gotta have the ball first, Hawkins, but B.J. Fleming, but Hawkins not going to let B.J. Fleming get behind him. I know you've been aggressive, been playing aggressive. He has some great plays, but that's an easy call by the referee, especially in a situation like that.
So a fresh set of downs for North Dakota, and their season, which was on the brink moments ago, can stay alive a little longer. To the outside, it's complete. It's Corey Ty, and he has his first catch of the day. He's the 7th different receiver that Kaminsky's connected with. The problem is the downfield passing game just has not been there. Kaminsky's only thrown for about 115 yards.
And right now, Tarleton State is they're gonna give North Dakota everything underneath because they want them to run this clock. So they're not gonna try to get anything deep. They're gonna give them everything underneath because they want this clock to keep moving. And North Dakota is helping them out by running the ball right into the teeth of their Texas defensive line.
Seidel that time ahead for a couple. Are you at all surprised that they're going and sticking with the ground game here down 18 this late in the fourth?
I think he's still trying to throw a run in there, so hopefully he can catch him on a play action deep throw. So I'm not surprised he called a run right there because 8:25, you're down 31-13. You don't want to totally vacate what your offensive mentality is, but right now it's almost time to hit that emergency button.
The clock's not on the side of North Dakota now. Tarleton State showing pressure. They bring it. Kaminsky rolls along the sideline. He lofts it out of bounds. Looking for DeMontenac. And again, blanket coverage along the sideline. That time, Ty Rawls, who's the boundary safety, a terrific player for this defense, out of Wetumpka, Alabama.
And the thing about North Dakota has some great skill position players. Specifically, they have some receivers that can really hurt you. So to see what these Tarleton State DBs, corners have done with these receivers and suppressing their output today has been extremely impressive.
Well, another fourth down.
Timeout.
And a timeout.
Tarleton State, their first of the half, 30 seconds.
So Tarleton State takes a timeout on defense as we near the midway point of the fourth quarter. The Texans in control, the 4 seed up 31-13. With 8:05 left here in Stephenville, Texas. And we look around the rest of the FCS scoreboard. So we already talked about the final. Villanova upsetting Lehigh 12-5. The winner here gets the winner of that one next week in a quarterfinal. South Dakota shuts out Mercer. They certainly look the part. The Coyotes moving on to the quarters. North Dakota State has created a little bit of separation from Illinois State, a rematch of what was a pretty close regular season game. How about halftime? Montana State and Yale only 7-0, so the Bulldogs are holding up, and 2 other tight ones elsewhere. Montana and South Dakota State figured maybe that would be the game of the week, as well as SFA and Abilene Christian, 2 Texas rivals.
I'm just looking at this scoreboard, man. Is this an 11 seed? Just put the hammer on a 6 seed? That's extremely impressive. Impressive win.
Yeah, 47-0. That is remarkable. 4th and 5, meanwhile. North Dakota needs it. Kaminsky throws, and shy of his intended target, Corey Ty. North Dakota will turn it over on downs once again. And this Tarleton State defense continues to stand strong. The Texans on top by 18 here in the fourth. (31-13), the lead for the number 4 national seed Tarleton State at 11-1 on top of North Dakota. First ever meeting between these two. Offensive numbers today for Tarleton State have been impressive. Victor Gabales has looked the part of a Walter Payton Award finalist, 291 through the air, nearing what would be a potential third 300-yard passing game this season. Hines has done it on the ground. And then Willis, how about a career day for him receiving? 4 for 133 through the air. They hand it off to Hines on first down. He spins out of an ankle tackle and is down inside the 40 to the 39 as Michael Devereaux muscles him to the turf.
It's probably one of the most impressive 5-yard rushes you'll see, man. Just spin cycle.
That's high praise coming from you, man. I know you toted that thing pretty well back in the day at Memphis.
God gave me a couple of abilities I tried to utilize to my advantage.
Let me ask you this about Hines. What is it that makes him unique and sticks out to you as a running back? What makes him impressive?
Vision, patience, toughness, quick and fast. A lot of people think just because you fast, that doesn't necessarily mean you quick. And just because you quick doesn't necessarily mean you fast. He's both of those, and I just love the entire running back package that he has.
They go on the pop pass, a little jet sweep action. That was Tier Young. And upended by Jai Martin, the free safety, who came up a little hobbled for North Dakota. So it brings up a third down. Inside 7 to play in this fourth quarter. Tarleton State has this clock ticking down, trying to improve to 7-0 on their home turf this season. They've won 8 straight home games here at Memorial Stadium. Longest home win streak since the 2018-2019 stretch. Their final 2 years of Division II football. They have seamlessly transitioned to the FCS and on the verge and the cusp of a quarterfinal appearance in their second eligible postseason. Hines again, meanwhile, and he's ahead for a first down. Actually, he's just shy. It's actually fourth down, beg your pardon. He's shy by a yard. So see if they keep the offense on the field and trying to just put this thing away. And I think they're going to bring in the back quarterback, Daniel Greek, who was actually, he's come on in spot duty at times. Gabalis has had a few injuries over the course of the last few seasons. Greek is capable. 6'5", 225. So you know he's got the ability to run. Been their short yardage guy all year. Fourth down and a yard. It is Greek, and he does push the pile forward. And should have enough for a first down. He does. And that's hard to stop. 6'5", 225 going downhill.
Not only that, that's that big dog formation. It looked like they had about 3 tight ends in there. They had all big dogs in there. You put a big dog Greek in there at quarterback and tell him, look, just go follow. Follow your blockers. He follows his blockers, but he also laid the hammer a little bit too. Those was a tough couple of yards he had to pick up, and Greek coming in, able to pick them up.
Now, Greek's a good story. He's a 5th-year senior from Argyle, Texas. He played 2 years in Mississippi State. He didn't appear in a game in Starkville, but a guy who could have easily hopped in the transfer portal with Gabalis, the way he's taking control of the reins in the quarterback room. Another good run for Hines. Just keeps eating yardage on first down. But this is a program. You think about what they've built here at Tarleton State. 3 guys who have transferred out over the course of the last year in this program. And they have the ability to maintain. Guys stick around. They love playing here, and Hines is certainly one of those guys who transferred in from Hawaii and can see his day on the ground today. He has gone over 100 for the second time this year.
He's been toting that pill, and what I like about it, there aren't really a lot of wasted motions with him. When it's time to go north and south, he goes north and south. When it's time to go east and west, he goes east and west. He's just making the right decisions when he gets the rock, just like he got the rock here. You see the tap, but look at him, north and south, and look at the feet. And man, take my headset, man. He running the rock, man. This is what I love to see running backs do. Look at him, get that rock, tap, paces, get up the field. Get behind your shoulder pads. Keep it. Oh, man. Oh, I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize, man.
No, I'm apologizing to myself, too. Y'all, that's me. I'm like, I apologize to him because, hey, no, I just love to see running backs running hard. That's exactly what he's doing.
And I will say this, as much as obviously it hurt this team and it hurt him to have the dislocated elbow in their season opener, he's got fresh legs. He didn't play for, a couple of months. And 215 yards against Austin Peay, over 100 here in FCS playoffs in round 2. He lunges forward inside the 20. Kaiwan Vengrowski in on the stop to begin things as the clock ticks down towards 3 minutes. Well, North Dakota has done what they can defensively, and you give them a lot of credit, especially the way they hung into that first half. This was a 13-7 game at halftime. in a game that North Dakota had no business even being in. But Benton didn't break, forced a couple of turnovers. Eric Schmidt, as good a defensive mind as there is in the FCS, but just not enough offense from his group today against the best scoring offense in the FCS this year, averaging more than 45 per game. Again, you keep them down the way they have, it's been a pretty good effort. The handoff to Hines, trying to bounce it outside, and in on the stop is Zach Lewis, the rover.
Well, more on that, Jack. You talk about this North Dakota squad, man. They've had a great season. The 5 losses they had coming into today's game, combined losses of just 17 points. A lot of those one-score losses, because they played some tough teams, played some tough football. This is a team that's a good team, so that's why I'm even more impressed about this performance of Tarleton State, how they come out here and been able to dominate this North Dakota squad, because this North Dakota squad is a good football team.
8 wins, their most since 2016. And to your point, I mean, they lost that opener at then 17th ranked Kansas State by 3, and that set the tone for what's been a lot of close games for them this season. Hines again, and he will be pulled down around the 14-yard line. So this clock, which is now inside 2 minutes, we get the 2-minute timeout with 1:58 remaining in regulation.
This is the
number
2-minute
4
timeout.
seed Tarleton State on the verge of reaching the FCS quarterfinals in their second year postseason eligible in the FCS. So here's a look at the other side of the FCS playoffs bracket. South Dakota, that convincing 47-0 shutout of Mercer. They go to Macon and just handle them in that game, and they are moving on to face either Montana or South Dakota State, who are in a battle in Missoula, 22-14 at the half. Meanwhile, you see this portion of the bracket, and Villanova already upset Lehigh, so they have the winner of this one between Tarleton State and North Dakota. Looks like it'll be Tarleton State. They would host. And then you've got the other portion of the bracket with North Dakota State in control against Illinois State. But Illinois State's driving. How about with those fans? My goodness. It's something else, man. By the way, we have a name for the shirtless fans in the stands, the Tarpless Texans. How about that?
Like that.
Credit Jake Withy, the SID for Tarleton State on that one. That's great coinage there. 4th down and 2. Daniel Greek runs it, and he is taken down right near the line again. That should be enough, and it is. And that will officially do it. And there they are, the Tarpless Texans. Give it a hashtag. I can tell you this is going viral at some point, if it didn't already. These guys have brought it from the jump today in Stephenville, Texas. Second straight year hosting an FCS playoff game. They're getting awfully used to this. They have a program that's no longer on the rise. It has arrived. And they can move into victory formation here as Tarleton State is going to move on to the quarterfinal round. Again, just their second season being eligible for the FCS playoffs. But before we talk about them, just tying a bow here on North Dakota. Again, a great season. Most wins in the program since 2016. You give them a lot of credit. Just didn't have enough offensively today.
Yeah, it happens, man. This is the playoffs. You're playing the best of the best. Still a great season for them to get to this point, as you said, playing in one of the toughest conference, well, arguably the toughest conference in FCS, Missouri Valley, bringing their brand of football down here to Tarleton State. But you also have to give it to Tarleton State as well. They knew North Dakota was going to be physical. They wanted to show that they're physical as well. They've shown that physicality, explosiveness, victoriousness.
So they can snap it here, and they can snap it one more time. And this thing will be in the books. Tell you what, the Texans faithful, they have a lot to cheer about right now. Tarleton State and Victor Gabalis drops to a knee. The Tarleton State Texans, the #4 national seed, beat North Dakota 31-13 in the second round of the FCS playoffs. And in their second season eligible at the Division I FCS level, they are moving on to the quarterfinals. They will host the 12 seed Villanova next week as they match their program record with a 12th win this season. A remarkable journey from Todd Witt and his crew, and they have a lot going for them as they move on to the quarters.
And you're looking at Coach Witt, you have to be impressed the way his team prepared and came out and performed today. As I said, North Dakota, very tough team, very good team, but Tarleton State, we knew they were explosive. They showed us some explosiveness. We knew they could be physical. They showed us some physicality. We knew they were smart. They showed us some smartness. And we knew they could win a big game. They showed us the winning of a big game, Jack.
Tell you what, it's been remarkable. A program that, again, made the Division I transition in 2020. Their first season was that spring 2021 campaign. And it was one of the great reclassification periods in the history of FCS football. Third highest win percentage, in fact, since 2004's. We look at the updated bracket. So the date is set. It'll be either Friday or Saturday here. Tarleton State, the 4 seed, hosting the 12 seed Villanova, who upset the 5 seed Lehigh in Pennsylvania earlier today. And of course, on the other side of this part of the bracket, North Dakota State and Illinois State still going, and UC Davis and Rhode Island still to come. We are joined now by Tarleton State head coach Todd Witten. Coach, congrats on a terrific win for your group. You're moving on to the FCS quarterfinals in your second season being eligible for the FCS playoffs. Just talk about what this moment means for the program and how impressed you are by your group's effort today.
Yeah, I'm very much impressed. We've got great leadership. We had great preparation through the last 2 weeks. I've never been more proud of a group of guys. 43, 44 seniors, and the way they've stuck together and been a team and done their job. Sometimes having that many seniors can be an issue, but not with this group. These guys are all about winning.
Now, Coach, going into this ball game, you talk about the explosive players and the explosive players you can have, but you said you had to be hard-headed about running the rock. You were hard-headed about running the rock today, and you ran the rock extremely well. Just talk about that offensive balance you all played with.
Yeah, well, that's we look like a championship team today. You got to be able to run the football. I thought we matched their physicality. They've got a really good team. They've got a great offensive line. And so just really proud of our group, the way we were able to run the ball. And certainly we had some big plays in the pass game as well. Just a great effort.
Coach, got to keep asking about it. You continue to lead the nation in takeaways by a wide margin. 2 more defensively for you today. Cassius Kearns obviously has been one of the nation's best, and you get another pick as well from a guy in Bam Smith. What are you putting in the water in Stephenville that's leading all these takeaways?
Yeah, we've got a great defensive staff. Coach Nix is just incredible. That just hadn't started right now. We've been getting more than our share of takeaways really since Coach Nix came on board. We've got guys that play really hard. We get a good pass rush. That certainly helps. We didn't play very well on the defensive side 2 weeks ago. The Parsons kid from Austin Peay really played well, and we had trouble stopping him. So I was glad that our defense bounced back, and they were just as good as they've been all season long tonight.
Coach, thanks so much for your time. Real quick, you got Villanova coming here. Talk about this fan base and what it's going to be like to host a quarterfinal next week.
Yeah, well, these fans, I mean, you guys saw them. They have a good time. They come out in droves. I think we're 6th in the nation in attendance, and so Tarleton's a special place, and I'm fortunate to be the football coach here and been here a long time, and yeah, our fans are as good as it gets.
I saw Tylen Hines run by and say, best coach in America. Coach, congrats on the win and all the best moving forward, okay?
Congrats, Coach. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Tarleton State head coach Todd Whitten, the winningest coach in program history in his 3rd stint at the school. He has transitioned into the FCS level, and they have done it with a bang. They are into the quarterfinals in their 2nd season being eligible for the FCS postseason, and they will host the 12-seed Villanova on the other side of the bracket. North Dakota State and Illinois State in a tight one. Illinois State moments ago took the lead at the Fargo Dome, 29-28. So that could be something to monitor. This whole bracket might get shaken up. Still to come tonight, by the way, on ESPN2, UC Davis and Rhode Island.
We all watching this, man. We got some big games on tap. We just had a big game here.
Had a blast, brother. That'll do it for us. For my partner, Doc Holliday, our producer, David Tasca, director, TJ McGinnis, on stats, Kurt Coomey, spotter, Roberto Arguello, beg your pardon. Jack Benjamin saying so long from Memorial Stadium, where the final score is Tarleton State, the number 4 national seed, 31, North Dakota 13. The Tarleton State Texans in their 2nd season eligible for the FCS playoffs, off to the quarterfinals next week.